Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final episode of the Just North of Hell podcast. I'm your host, Mark Thomas. I'm here joined once again by
James Winters. You know how it be?
Glad to have you here.
Yeah, you know.
This is it. This is the final podcast, part 4, the 4 podcasts of the apocalypse. Hard believe we made it.
Yeah, man. It felt like when we first started these last 4, it felt like we were going to start all over again. You know what I mean? Like
I did. Well, after taking a year off.
Yeah, and but then by number 2, I'm like, I was just in the swing of things, and it felt
back in the groove. It felt like we're back to normal.
Yeah, and it felt like it would be going on forever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
3 came around, and I realized about halfway through.
We also got a brand new guest that showed up. Big T.
Yeah.
That's cool.
True.
That's cool.
He
enjoyed it. He said afterwards.
Yeah, it was fun.
Also, by the time you're watching this, is also Christmas Eve. So Merry Christmas. As you can tell, we're here a little festive here. And as promised.
As promised? I don't even remember the promise. My brain's been so fried.
We were talking on the phone. I went to the grocery store today. I couldn't find the big bottles, but brought some Topo Chico, some of the best seltzer water out there.
Oh, man.
I got this can opener.
You should have told me I would have brought my bottle opener. I forgot all about this.
That's good. Well, I was afraid I wouldn't have anything, but here we are. Are these twisted? No, they're not twisted off. Oh, shit. I don't think that actually. Does this thing work?
You want me to get it?
Maybe you could.
I can just get it with the 2 bottles.
Oh, shit. Hey, it's like champagne.
You want to move that one away from your PC?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. One way to start things off. Explosive start.
An explosive start to the podcast.
Boom.
Thank you, my brother.
Cheers to being here.
Cheers.
That's good.
Oh, man, that's good.
Yeah, I remember when I was living down the D.C., Virginia area, they had that in the they make Topo Chico alcoholic seltzers, but usually in cans. I actually found some in the
They don't do bottles?
in bottles. They're so much better. Billion times better.
Carbonated beverages must be out of bottles.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't drink soda, period. Not even glass bottles anymore, but man, the only one that tempts me is a glass Coca-Cola with real cane sugar. Oh,
The Mexican
man.
Coca-Colas.
Oh, man. I want one of those so bad every time I see one. I don't. Other than that, soda's not really that interesting. Unless it's heavily caffeinated, then it's very interesting.
Right. Well, without further ado, we got to get in the meat and potatoes. A little rambling, but, keep it simple. So, guys, this is going to be a pretty deep podcast, I would say.
I would hope so. I mean, depends on how...
We're ending the podcast like we started, just us two. Hopefully better than the first one. I think it'll be leagues better. Leagues. So,
Terrible first podcast.
we've kind of have brought this up. I've kind of brought it up to you a couple times.
Yeah, so my thoughts
That's
on it...
Well, you introduce it.
So-
Introduce it.
My explanation may be lacking, but I'm going to try my best anyways.
It's a good
So...
theoretical hypothesis.
Or more like a framework to view the world through, okay? All right. So if you were... So basically, you're viewing the world through connections instead of through actuality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, what's my relationship to you, right?
You're a
Co-host, friend, right? All these kind of things, right? And then what's my relationship to your family members I don't know, right? So we could draw a line between me and you and then them, right?
Right.
So now, and then I could draw a line between you and all your connections, right? Me and all my connections, right? And the nature of those connections. And then by doing that, you could actually form a topography the same way you would with a map.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
So instead of doing it with people, now imagine
So
doing it,
all the people are kind of like strung up, maybe like I'm here, you're here,
Right.
and then the topography kind of connects it. Yeah.
and you have ups and downs
Right.
based off like a connection level or whatever, right?
Okay.
Okay.
I was
Excuse
asked
me, sorry.
where like stronger connections at. Are they lower or higher? But that's getting into the weeds.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I get what you mean.
It's just a theoretical framework, okay?
Okay.
And then instead of doing that people, I figured the easiest way to explain it to you was through people, right? Instead of doing that with people, do it with concepts, ideas, and the way the world functions, right? So if you were to look at the structure of a molecule, right? Instead of looking at it as a set of atoms that are in the same nucleus, a set of protons in the same nucleus, right? That are connected through the strong nuclear force. Am I correct about that? Doesn't matter. My physics is weak today. Okay. Think of them as individual protons or even individual quarks. That relation to each other is the important part, right? And if you were to keep expanding it up, why atoms are related to each other, aka they're in a compound, or they're magnetically attracted, or they're within the same, unit of area, right?
Right.
You could then have a different view entirely of the world, right? This view is more like the way the right brain works. So your right brain likes connections and kind of feeling or intuiting its way through things, right?
Okay.
So our society, especially for the past 500 years, has become, really for the past 2,000 or more years, has become very, very left-brained, right? Very logical, right?
Right.
Very, this is this, this is this, this is this, right? True, false, true, false, true, false, kind of type thing, right? So that's kind of limited our ability to see large swaths of data, because the right brain's really good at taking like a large swath of data, really looking at it all, and then kind of like using a bunch of small, quick calculations to come up with like this more like slow, blurry picture. But it's a better generalization than what the left brain might have, right?
So the right brain paraphrases it almost. Well, the left kind of.
The left, so actually the best way to explain it is the left kind of starts at one corner of an object and starts drawing it out very accurately, right? Right? And so this is true about it, this is true about it, this is true about it. The right brain looks at the whole object. This is very general, by the way, and you could argue a lot about this. But the right brain has more of a tendency to look at a whole object and then generalize its shape, right?
Okay.
So like I see a blurry image of you versus like slowly drawing a hyper accurate image of you, right? So
I get what you mean.
this is why stuff that like Friedrich Nietzsche, right, and even some of the stuff like from like Carl Jung is a great example. Actually, Carl Jung's a perfect example. These kind of right brain intuitive ideas, right, that science is just stumbling upon now, or even Eastern medicine, right? These intuitive ideas got really through right brain processes, digging into the own mind, in their own minds, seeing the general picture, digging into it. Now we're coming to these same conclusions through logical frameworks. We've slowly etched it out very accurately, right?
So, what would be an example of like something like a new science, like something new scientific wise that we're kind of getting like the general picture of, but not the details.
The one that really attracts my brain is higher dimensional geometry and its relation to how the universe works.
Okay.
Right? So
what would be the definition of higher dimensional? We're going kind of.
okay, so this is a bit outside the scope of what I want to, but yeah, higher dimensional geometry, and there's a better word for it that's like escaping my brain right now. But basically, you're looking at the shape. You're instead of looking at the world through a set of like constants and rules the way we do with the standard model, right? You look at it through a higher dimensional geometry that would explain such a thing, right? And there's like research teams out of India working on this right now, right? And in doing so, the actual shape of those higher dimensions, or the shape of objects in the shape of those higher dimensions, dictates rules on ours. Would dictate the rules through our dimensions. So really what this would mean is our third dimension that we see right now,
So you're actually talking about like
three-dimensional
4D, 5D,
right,
so
but
on. Like
three-dimensional
shit
space,
like that.
like that higher dimension is the same dimension as ours, kind of in a way. It's just we can't experience it in that way. That 7D, 7 space dimensions are projected into 3 spatial dimensions for our brains, right?
Interesting.
The way we interpret it is in 3 spatial dimensions, right?
Okay.
And that would explain a lot of the rules of the universe and the geometries of like gravity and such. But
But going back to topography, though.
but yeah, so
this is one of the things that maybe could fit into this topography
really
idea.
easily because instead of like looking at like, for example, instead of analyzing like, oh, objects fall at this speed, so gravity must be this, right? And then we can kind of calculate through that and figure out based off the mass of this apple what the mass of the earth should be, and then we can find the general rules for gravity, right? That's kind of how a generalization of how Isaac Newton did it, right? More or less, right? And then we can find out how heavy the sun has to be, so on and so forth, right? Once we get to the general relativity, it's a different story, but that's a very like logical way of doing it, step by step by step, right? Instead, what if I saw the connections? What if I instead figured out the same idea by seeing the connection between the sun, the earth, and this object, right? And by understanding and you get to the same answer. This is a very simple one. So you get the same answer very quickly through logic, right? While the intuitive way may be a bit harder for us to understand because we're so logic-brained. But by going the intuitive direction, understanding the connections between them instead, right? You might get a more fuzzy general picture, and then that will slowly sharpen up into the same idea that logical came to, right? When you get to much more complicated things,
It seems like a better way to understand something. By
right?
kind of getting a general image of it and then slowly working to the finer details instead of going to finer details and
Right.
being like, well, what's this really mean? Like, what's this add up to? It seems like it's
100%.
it seems like it's kind of
Because
almost asked backwards to start so specific and then trying to make the connections, and really it's such a slow developing thing
right,
rather than, okay, we got a general idea, so let's start piece by piece, get more specific. I see what you mean.
yeah,
About
and even the piece by piece idea, you're taking the intuitive and then making it logical, which is what is the whole idea, right? In the end, is you want to take the intuitive and make it logical, or maybe you don't. Maybe you want to evenly use both. But for my sake, I take the intuitive and make it logical. Basically, just it's a quick way to understand things. I also think that like we can see over and over again, especially in like the social sciences that have a large amount of interacting variables, right?
Right.
That if they were to take this viewpoint of the interconnections between things, a lot of the mistakes they've made, a lot of the oversights and inaccurate like results
to trace back.
It'd be way easier to see through it, way easier for them to understand, right? But we'd have to completely retrain our brains for it, right? Like back in the day, right? Our right brains did a lot more of the heavy lifting because who needs a hyper accurate representation of what a lion is?
So what? Okay, so you mean back in the day? You mean like
Way back.
we're talking about like, I don't know, even before medieval times, possibly.
Yeah. Before, so you want to go before deities, because deities would really signify the separation between
Before deities, like before,
because
like the idea of gods and stuff, or is it,
before the idea of celestial gods, or the gods being up in the sky, really, because you want like that connection part of the brain was really active at times when, at least from my own perspective, and this, by the way, has no backing in research, though it may if you go and look for yourself. I don't have any backing for this, so grain of salt. Back in the day, when we looked at the nature as a deity, and we saw ourselves as one with the deity of nature, right?
right?
And we were like one with the flow of nature, right? Prey, predator. We more easily saw the connections between the whole world, right? We saw the connections of everything in the forest. We saw
Right,
the
like
connections
why all of a sudden are these
Right.
steers we used to see a year or two ago? They're gone now, all of a sudden, or they're not. We're not seeing them as much.
right.
But like
So
very
these like very vague general things, but like for you to get to the same conclusion logically, it would have taken a lot of time and a lot of research, right? And probably multiple generations. It's something you could have gotten in less than a decade using the right brain, right? So, over time, we eventually got into like agriculture, and we removed ourselves from nature, right? So then we started removing deities from nature. Nature became a thing, like our enemy almost, right? And gods moved up into
surviving
the sky.
against nature.
Right. Nature was the enemy because we're trying to farm, plant life comes in, we're trying to raise animals, wolves come in, so on and so forth.
Interesting.
Right? So the that intuitive right side of the brain that sees connections between things rather than the things like logically pieced themselves. Like the left brain sees logical connections, but what I'm talking about are more generalized, like natural connections, right? Like a more intuitive connections between things.
Right.
Right. Also, the right brain gets things wrong all the time too. It's very dumb
because it's paraphrasing essentially.
Yeah, and just like the left brain, like completely misses the point half the time as well. You know what I mean? Also, the right brain does terrible with expectations. That's another thing.
Like we might see something that looks like might look like a fox, when in reality it might be a wolf.
Right.
While the left brain might see a tooth, it might think it's a lion, but in reality it is a wolf.
It'd be more like you
get what I mean by that?
The left brain would be like, I've never seen a wolf here before, so I've never seen a fox in this area, so that has to be a wolf. Or the right brain would be like, that's a four-legged candid animal, right? So it's some sort of fox, dog-like animal, right? And the right brain would make that generalized idea, right? And that's a better way to look at it. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing, and it has a lot to do with like the way we view ourselves and deities and the world around us, right? And
sounds very, very hermetic, Winners.
Very hermetic. That's one way to put it, yeah.
And because I know you kind of have a little bit of an interest in that.
Yeah, I think the hermetic philosophy came from the dying remnants of the naturalist philosophy. Not naturalist philosophy. That's like more Roman time, like that natural connection.
Gnosticism came from Hermeticism,
yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes, they're separate. People will try to tell you that they're not the same. They're separate.
So they're two separate things?
Hermeticism's a philosophy taught.
Gnosticism's kind of like a religion almost.
As a religion based off it and like the lesser key of Solomon. Yeah. Or something along those lines.
Gnosticism's pretty weird.
Pretty crazy.
It's crazy. It's kind of cool.
It's very cool.
Some of the lore behind it. It's like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. Very lore based, yeah.
But I think Hermeticism makes more sense, though, than Gnosticism.
Hermeticism is literally like, if Hermeticism was like a very popular thing, everyone would know exactly what I'm talking about by finding out intuitive ideas can directly be the same, like going and digging in intuitively with the right brain, or the left brain and the right brain working together can come up with like amazingly deep concepts if they don't have like the exact numbers to it the way the left brain has. Because like if you look into Hermeticism, they literally describe quantum mechanics, they describe special relativity, they describe universal geometries, panpsychism, which is there's a lot of evidence coming out for, right?
Panpsychism.
What?
Panpsychism?
Yeah, like the whole universe is like it's conscious.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's it'd be the best example, but I don't want to use that because no one knows what the hell that is. So
right. You said though we started losing this more right brain thought process. About 2,000 years ago, you said.
Probably deeper. More.
So I was gonna say
before civilization.
Before civilization, even.
Yeah,
because I'll say
we started losing it before civilization, before like farming and stuff.
I don't remember
before
exactly farming. Okay, so you don't think it has anything to do with like when Christianity came along, maybe the way it's studying nature and truth?
No, I think it exactly has to do with that because Christianity
helped.
Christianity
propel it more.
Finally took the left brain and made it worth something.
Right.
Well, that's a bit of an overstatement, but it was always worth something. But it made it way more viable. Also, it brought that intuitive part of the intuitive feeling back to doing things because God was in all things, right?
Right.
Also, you have to remember the left brain expects things. So like all these utopic visions for the world, they all come from very like left brain places. Communism, fascism, right? Mm-hmm. These perfect utopias come from a very left brain perspective.
So while the left brain expects things, the right brain just...
The right brain is just... He's just chilling. It just goes
with the flow in a sense.
Exactly. Follows the connections. He goes with the flow. Right.
So what?
It,
So since this like topography thing that
right. And that's a way.
You
And,
said
that,
some
and that's a
more-
way. That's a way a very logical brain can map out connections to make up for the fact that his brain is his ability to use the right brain is probably less.
well, you also kind of mentioned a morphology side. I don't know.
Well, that really gets into the same idea, right? Like the type of thing something is, right, is just a number of connections. Like by describing something through connections is kind of like the morphology thing.
Right. Well, I could see how like if you've got like an idea or a certain topic or something, maybe that's like the base level of the topographical map of the idea.
Yeah.
And maybe like the higher and lower peaks of like maybe like that's more of the connection there.
Yeah, so
Like
the more connections something has, the higher it would be. Like so the more connections something has, the higher the peak would be. So like let's say I know 300 people and you know 100 people, I'd be higher on the graph than you.
Right.
Right? But also, let's say you're 100 people, each know 300 people. While my 300 people only know one person each, you'd be higher on the graph than me.
Right.
Because your connections would be weighted because of their connections. So on and so forth.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe like the peaks and valleys of a topography map, topographical.
Based off type and probably weight of.
Well, I'll say would peaks and valleys also be like different subject matter within connect to the idea, or can we interpret it both ways? Like connect, like
So yeah, for example, if you were to like compile all the data on physics, chemistry, and biology, right? The number of connections to like certain concepts would be how important those concepts are in the reality of the world, right? So you could literally find the strength of things based off like the connections to like everything else, right? And how universal that idea is. And then based off that, you could like really, maybe you could even weed out bad ideas that way. Maybe, probably not, but maybe.
So what has motivated you though
To get into this?
to get into this idea? Like what's the purpose behind it, and what's the driving force winners behind this?
Well, I have kind of, I think the correct word to use is like a kind of epistemology. I like to know, I want to know everything. That's one thing.
Right.
But part of that is I want to enhance the human brain, especially my own. Especially my own.
Oh, the bubbles are.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially my own. So like, and like, what better way to do that than to better understand and better be able to utilize the parts of the brain and maybe understand the way ancient peoples better used certain parts of the brain than we use today. And maybe in that way, you could gain IQ or at least have more tools in the toolkit. You know what I mean? To attack ideas with, to attack problems with.
Right. So you probably think though the way we're using our left brain right now is fine, but you would say though we need to introduce the right brain method of processing and paraphrasing and add it together so we kind of utilize both. In a nutshell, that's kind of your
in a nutshell, because like if you only use the left brain,
you're kind of missing the big picture, maybe possibly.
That filters through all of society, and then all of society is very left-brained. So the right brain idea is just fucking. Instead of being naturally incorporated, they pop out in nasty ways, right? Like the devouring mother, right? A great example is like trying to return to your roots, right? And instead of doing it in like community-based way, you're like, what if I just did fascism and kicked everyone who wasn't like me out of my country? My country would then be like, blood and iron type stuff, And that tribalistic stuff comes out, and that's part of that right brain. That tribalistic, naturalistic stuff, right? Eco-fascism, right? The obsession with like preserving nature's beauty, right? Instead of it being like a understanding give and take, which a lot of people have, but instead of it being that, it's like, we're the bad, humans are the bad guys, right? Not that we're part of nature too, right? Because like the left brain wants to create like this narrative of like good, bad expectations, right? Assigning things to things. right? Instead of just looking at what it is and trying to make it out. Yeah. So we need the right brain to come back before we lose our minds and eat each other. Essentially.
It makes sense because
Yeah.
it shows you the connections, so people aren't like, well, why is this happening? Well, if you look at the connections through the going down the line, the root of the issue or the topic, and then you see the topic, then you can kind of like go back out. Then you can see how this main subject and idea affects all these subcategories. But when you look back down, it goes back to
like why can't we just do social? Why isn't healthcare for all just a really good idea? Like why don't we just give away? Why don't we, as Karl Marx said, take from those who have the ability to those who need it, to those who have the need for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do those not work, right? Because they're looking at it from like, oh, well, money works this way, resources work this way, so why can't everyone get along just by doing this? Instead of looking at the connections between the social hierarchy, nature, ups and downs in the whole, and like the economy, which is really just a representation of resources we have in the world, right? And general like moods about it, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's silly, but yeah, you can see it in American politics a lot.
Yeah.
This whole like idealized, like you're the bad guy, I'm the good guy.
This is honestly a good theoretical framework that you have.
Yeah, it's a decent perspective. At least it's fresh. I don't know if other people have thought of it. I haven't looked.
Well,
too much
I've
into
heard people kind of stress maybe the idea of looking at the connections, but maybe not like actually put it in some sort of framework like this.
Yeah.
Maybe that you could actually visualize to a point.
Yeah, I'm a very visual person, so it helps me to like literally visualize the connections like that. So.
Well, speaking of connections, I think this idea and look at connections goes great into pretty much the second topic, probably the one that's going to be the big dominant topic.
Okay.
The direction of American society and culture.
Right. We touched on this when we were talking about topography, yeah.
Right. Where do you think we're going, winners? Because I feel like we didn't really.
I'm going straight to that. No,
We're going straight hell.
Maybe we're not just so north anymore.
I don't know. We're on the border. I don't know. We're not even like a nice couple miles up the road. We're just on
it
the border.
depends. And when I say go straight to hell, I don't mean. Maybe I do mean it's possible. But I generally don't mean we're going to all die out, human race is over, I don't mean that. I just mean we're going to have a great falling apart. We're going to have a great, reversion, right?
Yeah, I've been
treating back into
I've been
self.
thinking about this, and it fits well with, I think, the 4 podcasts of the Popcalypse, even though, granted, the 3 episodes prior to this really didn't touch on any. We touched on things a little bit, but I think in a sense, though, this is the end of our world. Our world as the American.
Era is soon to arrive.
The next era is coming. It's not coming. It's
one way or another.
It's pretty much here. And I'm even at the point I'm seeing a lot of mainstream, like social media accounts, YouTubers, news pages, slowly starting to put out the post-American, like what a post-American global order is going to look like.
People have done this before back in the 2010s too, to be fair. But
I think now it's slowly. But the people who are putting that were very.
It's not a hypothetical anymore, and it's not like the extreme people.
Yeah,
anymore.
back then it was a hypothetical. Now it's happening.
Yeah.
That we are losing influence in the world. We've lost in some areas, and with that, it's kind of the American empire's ending abroad.
Here's my problem with that whole narrative. Okay, a lot of that narrative goes into and says that China is the next superpower to take America's place, and I don't think that's true.
Yeah,
like they're too. Pardon my vulgar language. They're too fucked. Like they fuck around with their currency too much. They fuck up investors too much. They do too much to like America. We hurt people We do all kinds of fucked up shit. But you know what we don't hurt normally? The money. We don't hurt the investors, right? And China is doing that kind of shit, right? And they're pro to do that because they're the state economy.
Well, we do hurt the money by printing it, so
right. But
it loses its value. However, though, it always is top dog because we're top dog here. We're the people. We set the rules.
Militarily, no one even comes close to us. No one touches us.
No, a lot of
we could take on the rest of the world
a lot of China's military.
We might lose, but we could do it single-handedly.
It's described from what people say. It's cheap. It's cheap. They might have the looks. They might have like the designs are very close to us, but it's not built to the quality of American. Like their Navy.
Not just quality. They don't have the scale.
Right.
People talk about they have so many more ships. Dude, most of those are little fishing ships with like guns on them. Okay. Like, we don't count those. We only count big battleships.
Right.
Right? But no one wants to talk about that.
Well, I saw that I was recently watching a video by Peter Zion, and he's basically saying like how China they have like they're building their navy up, but the navy like it doesn't have the range though as ours. Like their ships literally cannot go as far as ours.
Right.
The Russian Navy can, but that it's been more established though over time.
And the Russian Navy doesn't have the size, the mast, or the handle like world domination the way the U.S. does it right now.
Right. Like we have literally, I think, mass as of now. I would say master, but compared to everyone else, we have the quality and we also have the quantity.
Right. I mean, look at the F-22. We've like been holding back on the F-22 for how many years now? We're bringing him out. Now we're bringing him out, and he bodies everybody. Mm-hmm. Like it's not even close. And how long have we had him? Like nearly 20 years, or is it more?
F-22. Yeah. The F-23 is now out.
The F-30, and we have
F-35.
F-35.
F-35. Yes.
F-35.
Yeah. I don't get how they do the fucking numbers.
Well, the F-23 and F-24, F-25 aren't they? They're probably just like scrapped design models.
Right. Maybe like it's like it's like a new it's the new generation. Like so like the 35 is like the new generation, but like the 23, 25, the 20
right.
It's like slight variations.
F-22 is a monster though.
Right.
Like it just hasn't been allowed out of the cage. Everyone's scared of it.
That, and also countries are still, a lot of countries are developing countries that are trying to build their militaries. They're still, doing fine with the F-16s. They're still great jets.
Yeah, and they got the I mean, a lot of countries are using MiGs and stuff still.
Yeah.
Like an Su-57 is like
the
a big
Ukrainians, the Belarusians, the Russians, a lot of those Slavic
and
and
they don't
Eastern
even touch the F-22. Like they don't come close.
The MiG was only like a big deal in the 50s.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like people are still using MiGs.
They're good. They do the job, but
not if you're going against the United States of America.
Not if you go up against the Not you go.
We're still king. Like I don't know why everyone thinks we're going away. Like technologically, we're gonna be king for like at least the next 2 more decades. Like when it comes to warfare,
right?
If not 3 or 4 more decades, maybe more, right? Mm-hmm. I just don't see. I agree with you that we're not as crazy. We're not going to be as crazy as we have been.
We're not America in the 90s and early 2000s.
Right. But
the
America in the 90s and early 2000s was way more than it was in the 70s.
Right.
Right?
And so are we now.
Right. But in the 70s, we were still considered the leading superpower, even if we weren't dominating everyone the way we did in the 90s and 2000s. I think we're just going to have a return to form that way. I don't think we're going to fall down all the way off. I also think the idea that our currency is going to become worthless in comparison, like it's not going to be the world currency compared to China's, is crazy. People who invest in China are idiots.
Well, I think
no offense.
Well, I mean, they probably are.
Like getting your money out of that place is hell. Like Elon, I'm surprised Elon is invested so heavily into.
I think
China.
The deal is right now we're if you're saying like it might be back like how it was in the 70s, it's just the slow. Well, maybe fast because it just seems like stuff's moving so much faster. we're moving into a multipolar world order where, Russia has their influence in one area of the world. We have our influence. China has their
So
influence.
literally like the 60s and 70s all over again.
Right. Well, but during that time, it was definitely bipolar.
Right.
Russia.
And it's going to be bipolar again. It's going to be China and the U.S. again.
Well,
I don't
Russia remains, but they're kind of their own little.
They're not the superpower people want to make them out to be.
They're not, but they have influence, though. They have influence in this weird way that they still hold it together.
Yeah.
Through oil, natural resources, they still have their foothold in Africa, but slowly going away. Because China's doing their Belt and Road Initiative in
China's going to push Russia out.
Right. So I mean, Russia, they're only
unless China.
They're only keeping their influence
apart.
in their
Which is.
They're only keeping their influence within their former Soviet Union states and satellite states, and also but they're losing that influence because there's a organization they're part of, for example, called the CSTO, the Confederate of States Treaty Organization.
Okay.
It's like a little defense pact that it's with Russia, Belarus, Armenia, Kazakhstan, some of these a lot of the STAN countries, a lot of former Soviet Union countries. But that is slowly
The bad guys. No, I'm kidding.
the bad guys, yeah, sure. But that organization, it's pretty much seeming the last time they actually activated, I think it was actually the first time they actually used it, back in early 20. Was it 2020? Yeah. What year did Russia invade Ukraine? It was 21?
I think it was 2021. Yeah.
No, it's 22.
Oh no.
22.
Was it 22?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, that was going on the same time that that Elden Ring got released.
I think yeah.
That happened simultaneously. That's funny. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Back in early 2022, I think this is when it was. Fuck. Yeah, it's 2022, early 2022, like in January.
Time is hard.
There was, well, it seems like every January at the beginning of every new year, there's something happens. I'm kind of like
Something unwell.
like 2020. I remember the big, it was like the bushfires in California.
Right.
21, I'm like, I don't know what happened there. Made nothing because still kind of COVID. Oh, J6. J6.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Are you remembering correctly, Marky?
So in 2022, in January, there were some really bad riots and protests that were happening in Kazakhstan. And so the Kazakhstani government asked the Russians for the deployment of CSTO forces.
Yeah.
So the Russia deployed Russian troops, and pretty much they stopped this riot. However, since the war has happened, though, Russia can't really do much, though, to this organization's pretty much becoming feckless.
Yeah, feckless. Yeah.
Yeah, feckless.
Good word.
And I don't know if you saw during the summer, there's some shit going on with Armenia, Azerbaijan. They have a little area that's Armenia has an area within its border that it's called the Nakoro
Special Economic Zone or something.
Yeah, let me look this up.
I'm guessing. Is it some sort of special economic zone?
Yeah. Armenia, Azerbaijan war. There we go. Boom, perfect. So, okay.
What?
So,
What?
okay, so this region here is kind of like
It's the Palestine. It's Palestine, but the Palestinians are Armenians.
So, okay, now I'm actually kind of figuring out how the whole thing went. So, this region, the Nagorno-Karabakh, whatever, Nagorno.
The Nag car.
So this area, I think, has ethnic Armenians that live here.
Got it.
Okay, so the Azerbaijani government was kind of like fucking up those Armenians. I'm pretty sure.
Beating the shit out of them.
Right.
Making them pay.
And they want them out because they want to
know what
basically
they do.
create
An ethno state?
they want to have an access way here that connects this part here, which is actually Azerbaijani. It's part of Azerbaijan right here, this orange area behind
They
it.
officially control that.
Right. They govern it. It's kind of like an enclave. But they wanted to basically connect it from here to there.
But they already control areas around that area. They can already connect.
Well, this is Iran right here. This is Iran.
Well, no, but they control some of the border past that special area, right? Like that. There's orange there, like where your cursor is right now.
Yeah.
Why can't they just connect through there? Do they have to cut straight through that place?
So I think that it's very mountainous here. This is the Caucasus, because you can see the kind of like the little the darker there.
So the only flat zone is really like
so
right
it's
through there.
this channel. It's this channel right somewhere within there.
Oh no.
I think that's.
Oh, and that's why you can see the little cut. Look, they're literally cutting through it. Do you see the cut like the from both sides?
Here?
No. In the red. The orange cut into the red.
Oh, that.
Yeah, literally they're cutting into it. Looks like.
Yeah. So that's kind of the whole deal, but
that map was from 2022, by the way. It could be completely different. I mean 2020. I mean. That map was from 2020. You were just looking at.
Yeah. So it's mostly inhabited by ethnic Armenians. So trying to get that back, but then they want to make an access way to the other region that's kind of behind
All right.
Armenia.
So this kind of proves that their entire organization is kind of pointless.
The reason I'm bringing this up,
Yeah.
Armenia is a state under the CSTO.
But Azerbaijan is separate.
Yes, and the thing is, under this agreement, I think the Armenian government has basically told Russia, hey, like, it would be nice if you could help us with this issue with our neighbor Azerbaijan, but
We're kind of dealing with
Russia's a little occupied with something. I don't know what it is. Like, it's on the tip of my tongue, but
occupied, huh? I think it's more occupying.
I feel like such a like Marx is saying that they're the occupier.
They're
in
the
Ukraine.
occupier. Yeah, they're doing a little bit of occupying.
Yeah. So with Russia not being able to help Armenia though, going back, it shows that the Russian influence in these states it's dwindling.
It was already because the power is dwindling. They just were putting on a good show. You know what I mean?
Right. So Russia, its place in the world, it's probably gonna go down. Probably whatever happens after the Putin regime. Mm-hmm. I don't know what, but
He's just gonna live forever. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I thought some shit was going down this summer. Back when Prigozhin was rolling up right through. I'm like, here we go. That's happening.
Recently, it wasn't a couple months ago. Ukraine kind of got clobbered a little bit for the first time because they were just rolling the Russians, and then they got clobbered a little bit, and
their counteroffensive is not.
Yeah,
it's not going well.
It got stopped.
It's not.
Look. How do I say this? You never invade Russia. Never, ever, 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 ever.
Right.
Every single time someone's trying to take over the world and they invaded Russia, how did that go for them?
Not good.
Not good.
You kill a lot of Russians. Russia, did they take a hit?
Yeah, but
they take a hit.
But
they take a hit. They take a hit. They take a hit.
You just throw bodies at the problem.
And that's kind of what we're seeing here right now.
Yeah.
With this war.
Yeah. If I was them, I would have just. They got back. Didn't they get back their territory? They got back the eastern part of Ukraine. I would have just pushed
Russia or Ukraine.
Ukraine.
No, they're still.
So that counteroffensive was just to get that, and they failed.
Yeah, I haven't really looked at whole lot of the.
I think they were trying to pierce through.
They're trying to pierce through a certain area to kind of
cut everything off.
Cut off some sort of provinces from. Yeah. Kind of put a wedge between some of the coastal provinces that are kind of near. I
can't believe we just let Crimea happen.
Crimea, and also from the the other Russian annexed provinces, Donetsk, Luhansk, and whatever the other one's called.
Cyrillic names that we are too dumb to understand.
Anyways, so really remind back though, Russia's losing its influence, but it's still going to be there. Iran's kind of kind of becoming the regional power there. So we're going back to this multipolar world.
Do you really think Iran's gonna be able to be stronger than like the Saudis, stronger than like United Arab Emirates places, like all these kind of places? Really, you think they're gonna be stronger than these guys? These guys are beasts.
The Saudis are beasts, but I think it kind of depends, because it seems like Iran wants to more dominate the area, while Saudi Arabia kind of just like, well, we'll do business with you guys. Like, they don't seem to care enough. But it kind of naturally,
what we want.
It seems like it happens more naturally with Saudi Arabia. They kind of get they get the more influence.
Right, because
while Iran, they're trying to force it.
Right, because they're doing it through military.
Right. So I don't know. I think it's kind of contested right now, but Iran, they're forcefully, I think, trying to make them more of like the dominant regional player. Forcefully.
We'll see how that goes for them.
But the Middle East is kind of big.
How did the U.S. become the world's biggest player?
Well,
we were an economic. We did it through economics, and then we converted our economics straight into war efforts, and then never stopped since. Mm-hmm. You have to win economics first. You can if you just force military. I feel like in the modern era, where everyone knows what you're doing, people are gonna get pissed. You can get away with that shit back in like Roman days because you were so far ahead of everyone else. But
right.
Yeah, you can't get away with just being military.
Well, the reason why I became a military power was because we had shit going on at home. Right. Which I think this is kind of a good segue into kind of how I originally brought up.
Yeah.
How we're kind of losing power abroad.
Right. Sorry, I had to argue the point.
And that's American society. Like I said, it's the end of our world, the American empire.
I agree it's the end of the American empire.
It is.
But it's not the end of the American being arguably the leading superpower.
Right. But it is the end of this world we're in.
Yeah, us being the absolute dominant, untouchable king.
And a lot of that stems for what's going on here at home.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't know everything that's going on because there's a lot of connections. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to put all the connections together and understand specifically what each connection does to entail to the big picture.
I got to figure it out.
You got to figure it out?
I do. Continue, though.
Well, why though? What's happening here, Winters, in our American society?
I'll tell you. It's very, very simple. Okay. Mm-hmm. One, you guys, we already saw. We already talked about Rat Utopia. Okay. But two.
I was thinking before we kind of get, because I felt like it's a good segue.
What?
Gotta take a piss already.
Oh my God. All right, we'll get back.
We'll be back. This is gonna be a long one, guys. So we gotta take a lot of pisses. Boom, and we're back. So, Mr. Winters. What is going on in our American society right now?
Oh, well.
This is the big thing.
I think you can really boil it down to one thing. You can say all the liberal stuff. It's really just economic control. Oh, it's the government's control over the economy. It's a government controlled economy. That's the problem, right? The more the government has controlled the economy, the more problems we have. And I know that sounds like such a stretch, such a reach. But you can see it extend through our economic power, our problems like our volatility. The things that have blown us up have been caused by the government's control, right? Not by lack of control, right? I already said relationships, right? Did I mention relationships?
No.
Okay, well, sure. Relationships between men and women are a big one, right? And when you have a problem with relationships between men and women, you have a problem with the psychology of your society all of a sudden, right?
Right.
And when you have a problem with the psychology of your society, suddenly everything starts to fall apart.
Yeah.
And you can really break it all down from that one thing.
I know we've been talking about this stuff lately.
Yeah.
We watched the one video by What If Althist.
Yeah.
Check his channel out, by the way. It's a good channel, solid channel.
It's very solid, very solid.
Kind of like you in a way.
Less insane.
Insane. Anyways. I've been thinking, though, more and more about this. And really, the root of the problem I do see, it's government is having too much. They're putting their hand too much in the cookie jars of everything else. Mm-hmm. It's gone haywire. I'm not anti-government. You. I'm not as much as like you.
Well, I'm not anti-government.
You need government for some things. Obviously,
maybe
the protection of the nation. You know,
I don't know. You could have like militias to handle that.
this is a different world though. Still,
I'm just saying. Only problem is that the U.S. has made a lot of enemies. You can't run the U.S. like that and still be the U.S.
granted, Eric, I'm gonna look this up. This is basically the framework of what I think how I think the government should work. And this is
how dare you bring up Adam Smith?
I am.
The paperclip.
So Adam Smith believes the government's proper roles in society should be limited to, but well defined. Government should provide national defense, the administration of justice, and public goods. You know what? Public goods. You know, obviously the public good kind of, you know, as society progresses,
public good can be very stretched.
It expands. But I think that as it expands, though, we could be like, okay, it can expand, but I think we could still put a limit to it.
I disagree. I think the public good should be for public. So, like, for example, your healthcare is not a public good because it's only treating an individual, right? If I could mass spray an entire city for a certain disease, then you could argue it's for the public good, right? Because like you're doing one treatment for a bunch of people, right?
Mm. Well, I guess the federal government should, you know, limit what the public. State governments, local governments. Wow, what are those?
Man,
have you heard of local government?
Don't care. Yeah, the federal government's a big problem, and yeah, 100% marketing. You got it.
And I've been thinking about that more. I think that the over bureaucratization, is that a word?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a word, but yeah.
The just bureaucratizing everything.
Yeah.
Has
the crazy amount of bureaucracy.
I don't say kind of has fucked up our society and culture.
Oh yeah, it's completely fucked up.
I would say
completely fucked us.
And kind of take it to a philosophical point right now. I mean, not philosophical, but theological point. But just something I saw that kind of made me think of this.
God, no.
It was an account basically saying why have we seen all these just bad things happen with human governments, you know, range from the Nazis to, you know, some of the things horrible.
Tried to be God.
Is because the human government compared to the kingdom of God is nothing until we realize that humans are fault and that a human government can never meet what the kingdom of God could provide. It just, you know, it basically there's always going to be a fault with the human governments.
Right. Okay. So
it kind of just shows you, though.
A secular way of viewing that would be that humans are limited creatures. Even in big organizations, we cannot possibly calculate and maintain such a market. Even with AI, I don't think it's possible.
Right.
Without major totalitarian control. So the best way to do it is let things naturally compete as they would in nature.
Yeah.
Right? And basically that's what market economies basically what capitalism does.
Right. Yeah, I think we have allowed the government to pretty much manage all parts and become too reliable on what the government can do for us.
Right.
It's not what can your nation do for you, but what can you do for your nation.
It's
the JFK quote, kind of a little butchered, but you know what
even
I mean.
Less what you can do for your nation. It's more what you can do for yourself and the people around you.
Right, which eventually
and what you care about
blossoms out and affects your state,
right.
your local community, state, and then nation, and then thus the world.
In the long term, positive things for you are positive for other people.
Right.
If you are gaining positives off of other people's negatives, eventually it's all going to come crashing down on you. You can't keep that up forever, right? You need people to like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I don't know. And by the way we're going right now, it's getting more, you know, government is in everyone's hands. We're seeing, I don't know with the way things go, if it's going to become worse or just we're going to see a breakdown where it just kind of becomes pandemonium, or the term you like to use.
Boogaloo.
That's right.
No.
That's right. Boogaloo.
That's a joke, by the way.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear. I'm not like a...
I really don't honestly know.
I'm not going to go and attack. I'm not going to go and start like a violent attack against the government. Okay,
It's a fun word to say though, boogaloo.
it's such a funny word.
Boogaloo.
Okay, like it's like Zoot Suit Riot. Okay, it just sounds funny.
Not 90s swing.
Is a Zoot Suit Riot? But yeah,
And I just don't know though. How do we reverse this, winners?
how do we reverse this?
How do we reverse this? I know there's some people who say terms like drain the swamp or
Have
cut
everyone
back,
smoke DMT? No.
cut the bureaucracy, like Vivek says.
Oh yeah.
Is that the answer?
That's part of the answer, but they're putting the cart before the horse, right? They want to do the action without the things to replace that action,
Right, because you
Right.
don't want to avoid.
right? Well, maybe avoid is a good way to induce people to get to fill it, but you want to build up local governments. So what you should be doing is legally removing the powers of government. The bureaucracy can remain, these people can remain, and then just slowly eat away their power. So what will happen when a bureaucracy has no function?
It
They
just
disintegrate.
you're right.
So you just
Slowly-
instead
slowly-
of removing the bureaucracy directly,
Just make
remove the functions.
right by building up so things of the bureaucracy that what they normally do, make the state and local governments do it, just pick up their work.
Yeah.
And bureaucracies, like these certain parts of these bureaucratic organizations, agencies, they just kind of dwindle. And obviously the big federal agencies,
Right.
sure they can remain, but they become very less relevant compared to what they were.
I'll start. IRS gone. No.
Well,
Well, okay. Obviously, we get rid of the ATF first, right?
I don't think no one likes the ATF.
I don't know why they still exist. I mean, I do know.
I don't
why
even
they
think even the feds, other people in the federal government like the ATF.
I'm gonna press exit out on that one.
I don't know. Well,
The FBI really likes the ATF.
certain people, maybe the marshals do too.
Oh yeah, they get to shoot people.
Yeah.
Ruby Ridge, baby.
There's another one. The FBI, marshals, ATF, DEA, drug enforcement.
I was gonna say
They're-
DEA.
they're like
My first thought was DEA, but I'm like IRS is worse. And I'm like, wait, I forgot about the ATF.
Those are like the four. They're kind of like they're all kind of little cozied up together.
This is a hot take, okay? I think the Federal Bureau of Investigations has kind of been a messed up organization from the get-go.
The get go.
Yeah, from the start.
When was the fucking FBI made? Started? I think maybe it was the. I can't remember if it was like 1908. Okay.
Because
Wow.
Because like
Back then, it definitely been more just like white collar crime she was looking at, and probably criminal shit, not like.
right, but even then, like, how do I say this? The times it was made, the time it was made is very interesting to me. Because isn't that the same time as like J.P. Morgan and all of them went out and like created the Federal Reserve as we know it today, and basically chopped out the rights of smaller banks, like as we know it today. Technically, I think it's been around for a while, but
Well, let's see.
oh no,
1913.
it's a little bit prior FBI. Okay,
So, but the idea is definitely floating around though.
right.
By 1908, like let's be real, it was
Yeah.
floating around.
And the Federal Reserve is the worst thing to happen to America. Okay? I'll say it how it is. The Federal Reserve is dog shit. It was always ripe for abuse. It was built for abuse. And it was built to not only for abuse, but to abuse other people, to abuse smaller banks.
Yeah.
The more restrictions, the less economic growth you're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
That's simple.
By the idea of slowly getting the government back into the hands of the American people and less into the hands of the bureaucrats and the elites and also the big corporations. How do we, as RFK Jr. would say, decouple this and slowly kind of...
My goal would be when we remove functions from the federal government, especially the first ones we would remove, that no government would pick them back up. Because those functions are probably useless, right?
Right.
Or redundant, at the very least, right? But the problem is people nowadays expect them, right? So at least they'll be more directly controlled by the people, right?
Do you think with people having this expectation for the government to really take care of them,
Yeah,
so the government's kind of become this
parental figure.
That's kind of taken over many aspects of life, both very like observantly and unobservantly. You could tell.
Yeah.
How do you get people to actually accept that no, your local and state government can do this for you, or or just wean them off the addiction, and because there's addiction on both ends. It's like a toxic relationship, you know what I mean, between the people and our government.
So
They're both like fixated on these ideas.
yeah.
The government for power, the people for just being
How do
so
you
dependent.
wean them off this idea? Well, the taxes that we basically it's reduced taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how is that an answer to what you're saying? By reducing taxes, stuff gets cheaper, and people have more money,
True.
right? So, and if you reduce,
Eliminate the income tax.
I actually think the income tax is messed up, personally.
Florida got rid of it. They don't have an income tax.
I don't think it's right. I think because when we look at how the income tax, I think the federal income tax is ridiculous and maybe even unconstitutional in like some very stretched reading.
Right.
You know, but because it was originally made like, oh, we're doing this for a time of war, and then they never stopped.
What came first, probably the state or federal income tax?
I don't know. I just know the federal one was built. It's like, oh, we're doing this for war, and everyone's like, oh yeah, we'll go ahead for war,
Right.
and then it never stopped, and got bigger and bigger.
Because you know what happened? Oh, this is nice. We got all this extra money.
Money.
We have to give up.
No.
I don't know. Well, look, we'll make these new type of tanks and do this.
Just keep pumping money through.
Fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
We'll do a slight reduction in the federal income tax.
Right. Instead of reducing tax to improve the economy, they're like, oh, how can we get more people to join the military? Like that's like think about that. Like that's messed
Right.
up. That doesn't make any sense. Really. Like, I don't know.
I think tax is one part of the.
If you can cut taxes by removing costs, the economy just gets better.
Right. Well, I think that's
everything gets better.
It's slow, so stripping away of what the federal government could tax you on.
Yeah.
That's the first part.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to the states. Then I think then the people decide what do we truly value here in our state. Like what do we truly want to have the state? Because obviously, people are going to want the state to fund certain things, understandably, infrastructure, roads, but you could do that also privately, though.
Yeah, we could do it privately.
And locally. Obviously, if you're doing this locally, everyone has there has to be some sort of chip in a realistic world.
Yeah.
But that's up to the people in their respective state on what we deem important. Yeah. Obviously, people in Colorado are going to deem what's more acceptable that the government needs to provide them. Their local government and state government has to provide them versus people living in Alabama, Texas, and Oregon.
And also, if you removed federal taxes, people would have a lot more dollars to play with.
Right.
Also, states could tax them and do the systems that their people want. Like California could have health care for all in California.
Right.
Right?
They could.
All Californians get health care. Okay, that sounds great. If you want to try that, I mean, it's going to be terrible for you, but you can try it.
And it could allow more of the diversification of states.
Right.
Of kind of like you can
and
basically
only the strong will survive.
Right. So like obviously if there's a state doing really well, obviously if they're doing well, they're doing well. But
other states would look at them and be like, we should adopt some of their policies.
Right. It's what policies are doing best for the people.
Yeah.
Obviously, geography, population, demographics, climate, all that shit takes into account.
Yeah.
You could have two states that, have similar populations, but their geography might be different.
Yeah.
And that could have a huge factor of how the money in the state governments work.
Yeah.
How efficient it's run. It's ran.
Yeah, I mean, look at Ohio versus PA. I think that's a great example.
Right. We're two very, very similar in a sense.
Yeah. And like prior, a couple of years ago, we had more population than they did.
Right. Let's look at one factor: geography. Ohio's kind of rolling and hilly in the eastern half, and the western half were pretty flat because we used to be Lake Erie.
Yeah.
Toledo used to be covered in Lake Erie.
That's funny.
What a damn shame.
What a damn shame.
What a damn shame.
The mud should go back to water.
But yeah, and in PA, it's in the middle of Appalachian Mountains, split right in the middle.
Yeah. So, in the amount of population and like what economic factors, like what are the industries that are there? Like I know banking is huge, and especially in Western PA, aka Pittsburgh. But yeah.
Oh yeah, you got PNC Park there, home of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah. Too many sports, Marky. You watch too many sports.
I don't watch. I just like I the only sports going off a little tangent. I think I watch is football, because it is one of the best fucking sports. I know you don't watch it, but you play it. You get it though.
I get it.
It's a hell of a game. That and UFC.
UFC's awesome, but yeah.
Beyond that, everything's pretty slow.
Yeah. So yeah. So
that's a big part though. Pittsburgh, PNC.
Yeah.
I think also they have. When I was over there, I also saw several other bank buildings. A big Chase building.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's several big banking buildings.
And because
there.
banking's there, you have a lot of headquarters for businesses there.
Mm-hmm.
Like Giant Eagle, other things.
Yeah, Giant Eagle. They're out of Pittsburgh, aren't they?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's their headquarters started there. Which is funny because they don't actually. This is going to be a hot take. Not really a hot take. I don't know. If you guys have been to Giant Eagle, they don't have like all these beats them on price. They get beaten on like quality of goods by a lot of people.
Because here we have like
they get beaten by like cost.
Yeah, because Acme's a little.
Yeah,
Acme you have better. Acme's like a.
I mean, you have Kroger's. Compare Kroger to Giant Eagle. Kroger beats Giant Eagle's head in.
Yeah.
Right. Like they have like similar quality for like less money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they have often more choices. It's just less. It's less suburbanized. It's less nice looking.
Now we got Oh, you're talking about Giant Eagle.
Giant Eagle versus Kroger. Like Kroger has better like options and pricing.
You know what else?
Giant Eagle looks nicer.
You know what? We're also getting now.
What?
Across from Acme. It's going to have an effect also in Giant Eagle.
Yeah.
Meijer.
Oh yeah, Meijer's another great example.
Right.
Meijer's a fantastic example actually, because like they kind of kick.
I never been to them. I hear they're nice though.
They're like Walmart.
Yeah, that's Paul used to work at Meijer for a little bit.
You know Target.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If like imagine like you have something between Walmart and Target, price wise, but like with the same thing as
Target
Walmart.
has some nice stuff. Walmart has some good stuff.
I think it's closer to Target than Walmart, but yeah.
I hear it's like a nicer version of Walmart.
It's literally what it is.
So it kind of sits there with Target.
Like Target is like the premium version of Walmart, where you overpay for everything and there's not as many options. But Meijer is like in between.
Yeah, the cool one to get when it finishes.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, so like the different demographics and everything, I think you could come up with some. I think we would. It would again be a time of economic growth, and people would be able to feel like they have a say in the way their lives are ran.
Right.
And people would be more interested in
their local governments too. If their states had like more of this power that kind of.
In my opinion, I think like the local government should have the, like it shouldn't even be state governments. It should be like my district says this, because like New York City doesn't speak for all of New York, right?
No. Western New York is a totally different place.
Yeah.
Than Buffalo's. It's more a place that's similar to culturally, like compared like Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's like literally right in that line.
Right.
Yeah. So like
Clevelanders love Buffalo people.
Right.
Because we're kind of the same. We're on the same in a sense.
Exactly.
Great
we're
Lakes.
all like connected.
Yeah.
So like I think the districts would be a good way to run it. Like if LA wants to be like healthcare for all,
its district can
a district can do that.
Yeah, it could just
But
the
then
tax.
it's like, oh, if like San Fran and LA want to get together and like combine, I don't know, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Combine like they're
Combine funds for healthcare.
combined funds. Yeah, because they are very similar in a sense.
Yeah, like they have
Even though
viewpoints.
San Fran and LA are a good stretch apart.
Right. But like Northern California, especially Northeastern California, wants nothing to do with any of that.
Right.
Right. And
It's still very small town, very way more conservative.
right.
And it's just more about the local industries there. The big farms.
150%. So like,
I'd love to check out.
Imagine how much better people would like where they are if they could really control their government.
Right, and thus it would bring back community.
Right,
which is
like-
something we lack.
100%.
Getting to know people, like going
You'd
to
have to.
local events, going to your church. But you also know, I know that guy. He was at a thing, one of our food drives or something. Or, I saw him at maybe like at a big rib burn off we had at the start of the summer.
Exactly. Like presidential rallies shouldn't be like the big political event for people. It should be like, everyone should get together and rally behind like, the mayor of their city and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of thought about this too, in the sense. I kind of think this, I could compare it to sports teams in a sense.
Okay.
I'll go to Cleveland to watch a Browns game or a Guardians game, if we want to call them that. But I go there to Cleveland, and sure, like it's my big city, but there's part of me that thinks, why do I care though about the rest of the city? It's not my community; it's my big city close to me.
I don't care about Cleveland that much.
It's like going to a presidential rally,
Right.
that's an hour away.
Like why?
I'm with people that are in a different community than I am, rooting for a guy that's going to be in DC.
Got nothing to do with me.
Yeah. Obviously, we have a shared thing. We're there for the president, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like, why do I care though what this community's doing in comparison to my community?
Right. And why
is that a good example I gave?
Kind of. And also like the fact that the president has so much sway right now is kind of why people care.
Right.
In theory, it should be like, oh, he kind of makes some higher level decisions that don't really affect us much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure, on like the international scale. Scale. Sure, important. Made big trade deals and shit. Sure. Made new trade zones and shit. Sure. But so should the local governors. The governors should.
Yeah, I even think I really believe that if the government stopped being so crazy, the people would stop being so crazy.
Right. Well, obviously, I think governors of states still have a lot of power.
Yeah.
In some states, we see, obviously California,
Crazy
Florida,
power.
Texas.
Yeah.
But the states that were once great, like Ohio, Indiana, PA, Michigan, these former like Rust Belt states, they're restrained.
Yeah.
Because their governments, the reason these states are restrained, because the governments don't have as much say anymore. Even the governor. Granted, you could bitch what you want about people like Mike DeWine and Gretchen Whitmer up north in Michigan, who's
Eek.
But at the end of the day, though, they don't have as much say as they did during the time of the economic boom when the Rust Belt was just the industry belt.
Right.
Before it was rusting. It was nice and shiny and great.
And before we had so much federal tax and federal control over everything.
And I think if you slowly strip away that federal influence, these states could once again shine again.
Yeah, 100%. Without a doubt in my mind. And also, think about it this way. If people don't like the way they're living, they don't like living in Ohio because of the way things are, then they can just change it.
Right.
Like you actually like instead of you being one of 300 million, it'll be one of 7 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we get that down to districts, like one of 10,000, right? Like your voice would really, really matter. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I think if we don't go that route, the route we're talking about right now, where we like decentralize, right?
And kind of get back to
We'll just become
truly being a United States of
States,
America
yeah.
instead of becoming this united.
instead of America.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it still is America, but
Right.
it's kind of, there's the good America and then there's the America fuck yeah. It's kind of this,
There's the United States and then there's the U.S. You know.
right. The U.S. is kind of this, it's something. It's good, but it's kind of like it lacks this responsibility. It's almost like this carefree, like fuck it mentality. We'll go as we go.
Yeah, and this mixture of like I gotta take and control everything because if I don't, then what am I doing? Type thing.
Because obviously, as much as we love to sing "America, fuck yeah,"
Yeah.
The joke behind it, it's just this gung ho
Just doing
nation
that
just does whatever the hell it wants with almost no repercussions on
or no idea of repercussions.
Yeah, no idea of repercussions on the rest of the world and its own people.
Yeah.
Like the image of the fat dude in the car, the ride in the cart with his, this cart with his minigun in the front of it, having air tubes going up his fucking nose, oxygen, eating steak, having a big old supersize me McDonald's meal. Hell yeah, baby. We're that right now. We're that.
Literally.
But not up here, winners, where it matters. Not up here.
Not where it matters. No, but yeah, I really, really hope because.
How realistic do we think this is?
Not.
It's not.
So I think the realistic thing is, right, is it gets worse. And it continues to get worse until we become like Europe. And we stabilize out like something like Europe. And then there's some sort of revolution in some states. And like hopefully it succeeds and they secede.
Revolution to become autonomous?
Autonomous, yeah.
Right. But that also comes with battle scars though.
Oh yeah, bad ones. It'll be terrible.
Especially here though.
Oh yeah. Oh, Ohio can't do it. We're too central.
Texas
could do it.
Florida could do it. Even California could do it.
Louisiana could do it.
Yeah.
And Louisiana would be easy.
Well, I mean, California do it. They could do it to become more radical left.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, they can.
Like, here's the thing. If like California influences the federal government to be more radical left, everyone feels it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like not much, right? We don't feel it much. If just California influences itself, people will quickly understand how bad these ideas are.
Yeah.
Because it's not sustainable unless you're literally sucking dry every other state, right? To give to your money pit, right? That you want to make over there, right? Without Hollywood, there's no way they even with Hollywood, there's no way they could support the ideas they want to support.
No. You have these, granted, big-ass cities, but these cities, though, in the grand scheme of things, they're just, Hollywood is, it's only entertainment. At the end, back in the day, like, entertainers weren't.
They weren't everything.
They were, like, you're entertainers, you liked them, but they didn't have that sway. No one really cared. They might say something important, but you didn't let them almost push a narrative in a sense.
It's because people had communities back then.
Right.
People cared more about what their friends said than what. Now people don't have friends. Or they see them like once every couple weeks.
Yeah.
Community's dead. They don't give a shit.
Who do you, with this whole.
Yeah, basically it gets worse and then we spiral out of control.
Granted, I think it gets worse with, I guess it depends, like, who dictates how it gets worse. Obviously, the government does, but who also dictates that it could get better? Because I think it does kind of come down to, obviously the left, I think, is making it more become of this U.S. as a big.
Well, the right isn't helping at all.
The right's not helping either.
Like the right used to really be strong on small government ideals.
Right.
And while they still talk the talk, they no longer walk the walk with it, right? And that kind of that really rubs me the wrong way. More than like the Democrats basically say, we're going to make the government bigger and you're going to like it.
Well, Joe Biden said at his inauguration speech, the era of big government is now here.
Yeah.
He literally said that. I remember that. I remember cringing very hard.
I can't imagine why you would think centralized governing is super effective. Like every time someone's gone all the way maxed out on centralized governing, it always goes poorly. When people max out on decentralized governing, it always goes well. The problem is they always end up re-centralizing because they're like, we can see this benefit and this benefit.
I almost wonder the people who are in power, who push for more central government.
Yeah.
I wonder if these people were in their lives affected in a positive way
No.
by the central government, and thus,
No.
or a perceived way, and thought that was the answer, though.
No, because when you talk to these people, they always say, what do they say? When you really break it down, when you really get to the meat and potatoes, they're always saying they want to what they want to change, right? Mm-hmm. They're always saying like, and the thing that inspired them to want to change it this way is never the government. It's always an individual who went above and beyond, right? When people talk about like wanting to change, like I think what's it called? Foster care is a great example, right? Foster care and social services are a great example. Lots of people go into social services because either they had a terrible experience, right, and they want to change that, or because one person, one caretaker, one social worker really put in the extra mile more than they should have.
Right.
More than their pay suggests they should, more than the job requires. They went above and beyond, and because of that, they want to do that, right?
Right.
When you listen to these stories, it's all about individuals. It's all about communities at the most.
Yeah.
Central government hasn't done shit for anyone, unless you're talking politicians. Mm-hmm. If you're a son of a politician, yeah, maybe the centralized government has done some great stuff for you.
Right, or part of a military family who's had a high-ranking officer or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the left is probably more of the champion of this idea.
The right's not getting any better though.
I don't know what the right's doing. I don't think the right knows what it's doing.
We're moving in 3 different directions.
Obviously, we have the Trump right,
which the Trump right is not united at all.
No, that I know I said I don't want to talk about candidates, but I'm just kind of you'll see how.
Yeah.
The Trump right is obviously its kind of own little right, but it's divided.
Yeah.
You have the Vivek right, which is kind of this maybe new
pseudo-libertarian.
Then you have the neocons like Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, Chris Christie. And I don't know where the right's going, but I think it's going down a dangerous path.
And Trumpers are like, they're split between they're basically split between neocon and libertarians, like down the center. And they all think they're the same thing, but they're not. Like the ones are like, oh yeah, I want more freedom, right? Mm-hmm. And the ones are like, oh yeah, I want to, increase American greatness and influence, right? They think they're the same, and you could argue that they could be both achieved, but the way they want to achieve them is through different means, opposite means even.
Yeah.
So yeah, the right is scattered. I mean, the left isn't uniform. The left isn't a monolith, but they do a much better job of getting everyone to say the same thing.
Right.
Come voting day, they don't get everyone to vote the same way the right does. The right can really we all vote the same way. When we all get to consensus, okay, this is who we wanted.
Yeah.
But the left does not. The left doesn't do that. But the left they all get on the same page, rhetoric wise.
For sure.
Yeah.
Rhetoric wise, yeah. Because you're obviously seeing a strange thing happen with the left as well. You have the obviously you still have the old school left, which hangs on because just the title and the word Democrat.
Yeah.
You have the AOC left, which is this new progressive left. Then you have the almost Joe Biden left, which is kind of this weird
I'm riding with Biden kind of shit.
riding with Biden, kind of neocon in some aspects, in some of their actions.
Yeah, it's interesting. They are kind of almost neoconish.
And I don't know, but the left, like I said, they have more of a they come together on the rhetoric.
Yeah, you got the neoliberal left. You got, in my mind, you got the neoliberal left. You have the progressive left, and you have the radical left, right? And you could argue the progressive left and radical left are like very overlapping, but the neoliberal left is completely separate from them, right?
Right.
Yeah, like all the neocon people are kind of more progressives.
Mm-hmm. With the left pushing, obviously, I think that right now the left is, since they're in the control right now, they're in the government, the bureaucracy, media, religion, entertainment. It's obviously killing the idea of community more and more day by day,
Right?
and thus making more of
Screw your community.
a sick addiction to the federal government.
Yeah, but people don't even know that's what's happening. They have no idea.
If the right wins this next election, what does the right do? Like, what does the right do? I'm not talking about because there's no way people like Nikki Haley and Chris Christie don't have a snowball's chance in hell to win the election.
No,
they don't, and they don't deserve to, because they're just they don't
actually understand the problem. They don't understand the problem.
Nikki Haley's a war hawk.
Yeah.
And as Tim Dillon said, Chris Christie knows he can't win, but he's just there to fucking just cause as much damage as he can.
Right. Basically Democrat.
He's just there to ruin reputations and he knows he can't win. He's just there just to fucking put out damage and
and also
have Vivek tell him.
Name, remember
right.
Yeah, how much
honestly, I don't. That faction and the right isn't going to win.
No, not even
because we're seeing the other right rising and stuff.
Yeah.
What does that right do, though? What does that right do? What does it invoke in an American society?
What will they do?
What will they do, and what will they?
What should they do?
What will they do?
What will they do? They will.
Because what they should do is what we were talking about, about empowering the states more. But what they will do, that's more of like.
I actually don't think they will empower the states more. I think they'll fight on a couple stupid ideas, right? Like they'll really fixate on abortion,
right?
Which,
no, I never thought they would, empower more states,
right? And they'll really, really like the economic stuff they will do will be from top down, right? Mm-hmm. It won't be like, oh, we're gonna relinquish this power, because that'd be too smart. It would be
only if you're Vivek Ramaswamy, but
only if
we would see though.
Ramaswamy isn't gonna win.
No, he's not.
He can't. I'm sorry, he can't. The only way he can win is by being VP.
Right.
Right, and then like Trump dying.
Yeah.
The only way he'll ever be president is that way.
Mm-hmm.
At least for this election cycle. Next time, maybe we have some major shift. I don't know, but it's really got to be. I'd imagine they'd also double down on some war stuff, because a lot of war stuff is going on right now.
Right.
You can't not, if you're right.
I think because I'm gonna put it, because I believe that the faction of the right that's more winning the hearts and minds of people on the right
mm-hmm.
is the Trump and Vivek style right,
which are very different.
Right, but I think they do come together more.
But they have an overlap demographically.
They have more overlap, and they're more tightly knit compared to the neocon establishment right of Mike Pence, Nikki Haley, Mitch McConnell, and them.
Yeah, I never understood why neocons want to be the way they want to be. Blows my mind. It's like, dude, no.
I think there's something pleasant, the idea of this is more neoliberal, but it's becoming more and more like that with the neocons and neoliberals.
Yeah.
It's the it's the one size fits all narrative. I think
Yeah.
it seems pleasant for them.
Humans have this vision, this ideal vision that everyone can win this one way.
It's the left side of the brain's expectations.
Right. 100.
It's that.
Literally. It's literally what it is.
It's based off expectation.
And yeah. And then you have the populism side, which is, still a lot of expectations. Everything has expectations right now because we're so left-brained. But expectations, but like it has like the primal like tribalism mixed into it. And then you got libertarians, which are really left-brained about like economics and stuff. So they've gotten to the point where they can like logically see the connections, but that's about it.
Yeah. I'm just really I'm concerned about this new right. And we've talked about, I'm not saying like, oh, the right's bad, but like
It's bad.
I think I'm worried the side that is gaining more traction, it's going to get
Nazis, baby.
It's going to get dangerous.
Oh yeah.
And I mean legit, Nazi tendencies.
If the right loses again, that's when we have to worry. If the right loses again, the Nazi tendencies will go off the charts. Right? The left doesn't know really what they're fighting for right now because like, oh, we can't let the Nazis back in. You don't have Nazis yet, honey. Like
what the left is fighting for right now. It's
not the same.
They are fighting a failing society and culture that they don't know is failing. They don't know that it's.
They do know it's failing, but they don't know the reason why is exactly what they're doing.
Yes, they don't see the connections. They know it's failing, but the ones who know it, they don't want to admit why, and the ones who see it,
like the ones that see the problems, they don't.
The ones who see it
and would say
they don't want to admit to it, but the ones who
see it and know why don't want to admit to it. The ones that see it and don't know why, like, oh, we can solve it this way. But
right.
those ways are
but they
problem.
keep bringing up more solutions.
Right, like it's a cycle. I've heard this from a stupid YouTuber, and this is like he said this like months ago, but the government will give you a service, right, that eventually causes a problem that they will provide you a solution for, right? And the price of that, it's just a little bit of freedom, right? And then that solution will have a problem that they'll give you a solution that they'll sell you a solution for. The price is a little bit of freedom, and over again, right? And it's the same idea with like that agency over your society, over your community is like so important to keeping the balance of things.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Because when the bigger the authority falls, you still have the community to fall back on.
Yeah, and like we wouldn't feel so like the reason people shouldn't feel so like
alienated
and like
alienated and dependent.
Yeah, because like this whole like furious like
wow, that's something actually
like feral like desire to like get your presidential candidate in is insane.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah.
Alienated dependence. That's a very good term. I actually now think.
Yeah, that's actually like literally what they are, literally what we are.
Because people are at levels of loneliness and lack in community.
Especially dudes. Dudes are terminally lonely right now.
But they're also so dependent.
Right, like on their parents, on the government, on the internet, on safe spaces.
Yeah, I think while the left's pushing, the failing insanity, I don't know what type of culture the new right's going to push. Obviously, like I said, it's going to push. Possibly, worse comes to worse, it's going to have Nazi-like tendency.
I actually think it's pretty obvious we're heading that way.
Right. I don't know if.
Because you got to reject the whole softness. You got to go full.
I don't know what could stop that from going too far in that one way.
Literally, it would be decentralization of the government, and by like people say like it's funny because like loneliness is a problem of atomization, right? You're on yourself on an island, but it's funny, by taking apart that big structure that is the government, that big hole, right, and dispersing it down to the states, you would thereby strengthen community and reduce atomization. It's just a funny, like, you split things apart to put things back together. But,
yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, you need to have people need to feel like their communities are important to their life.
People need to think communities are kind of the nation in a sense.
Yeah, it's a community of communities.
Right.
Instead of the U.S.
Yeah. Because when you can't sit here and possibly think that the U.S. is strong all around.
What do you mean? It's great.
Because obviously we see the failure in states like California,
Yeah, pretty terrible.
New York, Philadelphia, Philadelphia and D.C. And those communities are shit right now.
Yeah.
But also I find it hard to say what communities that you hear of the larger communities are doing good. Des Moines, Iowa, maybe. Parts in Texas, maybe. But they're not as strong as they could be.
Not even close.
I don't think this new right, I don't think it, if it worse comes to worse, I don't think it incentivizes community at all either.
No, it would be...
Or it's more of this very...
It'd be service towards the state, and your community would be through, like, your brotherhood with your other servants towards the state. Like, it'd be this messed up idea. Like
it'd be like
German brotherhood.
It'd be that there's community, but it's on this way only.
Yeah.
And if it's not this way, I don't know how our new right here in America would react. I don't know what the reaction is to people who will defer. And that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets that bad, I gotta go. I gotta leave.
You gotta leave?
I can't, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I get you.
I can't stand. I wouldn't be able to stand that.
Mm-hmm.
If like, I would try everything possible to stop it or reverse it. But, like, once it got too far, I mean, I either have to fall in line or leave, right?
Well, I couldn't personally. Because
I know.
You know me.
I know, you'll sink with the ship.
I'll sink with the ship and go down.
I'll jump ship.
Just
I'll stay on it for a long time, okay? I'll patch holes with you for a while.
I'll be fucking shoving you on that. I'll be shoving you while putting the vest on you, pulling the thing. And,
yeah, I'd be gone.
Or it's like a big plane going down.
Yeah.
There's one parachute left. I push you out, pull the cord, and you.
Yeah, we can work on the plane all we want, but if it doesn't work out, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carry on my legacy in Argentina.
Hopefully that works out, man. Because, like, honestly, I think Argentina right now is going to be a huge factor for the future of the U.S. I know that sounds insane, but just the idea of a hyper aggressive libertarian
it's a
strategy working.
It presents a new model.
Yeah, that new model working so well.
It's no longer
it's no longer an economic theory. It's like, look, it's working.
It's no longer some, like, the way I think our society wants to look at it. It's some weird fringe ideology.
It's literally what they look at it as. So sad.
Do you think? Obviously,
and the Libertarian Party does not help. Fucking trying to make 14-year-old consent laws.
No, our Libertarian Party is shit.
They're so dumb. They're so dumb. Like even if you believe that, which is fucked up, you should not make that one of your policies.
No.
Like even if a large portion of your base currently wants that because they're all like, West Virginians, mountain people, or like Redditors or whatever. Like even if a majority of your people
invisible Reddit hat.
I'm sorry, that's probably like 4chan people over Redditors, but yeah.
Our hardcore writer is more left and hardcore for channel. Oh, yeah.
They're far right, but yeah. You should never make that one of your like even top discussed policies because it alienated so many people. It killed your entire political movement. It's
just a lack of leadership and shows that leadership is kind of fucked up and weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Like that.
It's out of touch. It's out of touch with reality.
Like if someone in the Republican Party brought that up, it would never make it to the freaking stand. Even if 50% of people in the Republican Party believed we should reduce the age of consent to 16, like federally, right? Which it might be something like that. Anyways, but like right now, it would be too big of a blow politically to bring something like that up.
Right.
Right. And we'd shut that. It would be shut down.
And there'd be other.
They'd shut
I think
down.
obviously other things would just take precedent over it.
Right. And there's so much more important shit than the age of consent that the Libertarian Party has to deal with. Right. Like that's like if we look at the list of priorities, even if a lot of people want this, the list of priorities goes fix the economy, fix communities, fix the economy, fix communities, and then way down here is like age of consent laws.
Yeah. How do you think? Because obviously, if Argentina were to rise and become successful again,
Yeah.
how it was back in the early 1900s,
Yeah.
which I think was what, top 5 richest countries.
Yeah.
Beautiful country back then.
Yeah.
So
Crazy GDP.
its rise will be slower than our descent.
It would have to be. I actually think that like for the good ending,
Where?
the good ending, the one where decentralize the government,
Oh.
people, state power, you would have to see a meteoric rise in Argentina. Like Argentina Liberty Party has to landslide win the next couple battles for like congressional spots. I forget what their congressional shit is.
Right, because it is just Javier Milei by himself.
Right now, but like his party's polling really well.
Yeah.
So like people who they have to all win. They have to all win, right?
Well, yeah. If you at least could kind of like make it from being the worstest to bad, that's better. You know what I mean?
That's not enough. That's not enough to change America's opinion, though.
What's a mediocre?
Meteoric rise. It'd have to be going from the worst to good.
To good. Like,
not the best, but they have to go good.
Like it's good here. Like it's good. Yeah.
It has to become a nice place to live. That's a big one. Crime has to reduce. Because if you can prove that by taking away social services, you can decrease crime, it will kill so many narratives. Because when I tell people we got to kill these social services, they're like, well, the increase in crime would be drastic. I'm like, maybe in the short term. But in the long term, it would be less overall. And people are like, I don't know if we would be able to survive that. I'm like, what do you mean? You think people are just going to run outside and start shooting people because welfare's lower? Like, no.
Well, I think once...
Like, some people will, obviously. But yeah.
I think I get what you mean when it would be worse. I think, at first it would get worse crime. But
Some people say that, yeah. And I imagine it could happen.
But I think, though, once reality would sit in, though, well, I don't know.
Well, because you got to remember.
I was going to say.
The first thing you do before cutting all these social services would be what? You'd be cutting taxes.
Cutting taxes, yeah, I'll say. Yeah.
So they have more money, and then you just cut the welfare there.
Well, yeah, you have to do this in a certain order. You can't just be like, you can't put it like on a unranked.
You could just do it all at once. It would be chaos, but you could do it all at once.
You could.
I think you could. Because I think the benefits would outweigh the downsides, and also if you could do it all at once and it would stick, and it wouldn't be something that it could just be reverted when someone else gets in office. If you pull it down all at once, it'd be worth the risk of not being able to maintain. Like if you could do it all at once, versus like having to risk like, oh, if we don't win the next election, what we've done won't continue. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because I could have it be an argument for both ways. One way would be you slowly start stripping away this shit slowly, so it kind of allows things to be adjusted in a tame way.
I think it should be a mix of things. I think it should be slowly in certain ways, and some things should just be stripped away. Because I think a lot of stuff right now is both useless and expensive. Mm-hmm. A good example being the ATF.
I think the lady in the front's leaving, that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
A good example being the ATF, right? If we got rid of the ATF, their cost is cut and the world gets substantially better immediately. So,
well, I think also though, maybe a mix would be the both ways, but I think as one way I thought maybe like if you do it slowly, it kind of allow for a nice easy adjustment, but also though, I think the more dire our situation becomes here in this country,
faster it'll have to be.
You might have to take the risk and flip the switch.
And I think if
and have a hard adjustment rather than an easy adjustment.
And I think that hard adjustment will become more likely to go authoritarian the less well and the slower Argentina's progress is. If Argentina in the next 4 years is an economic powerhouse, right, or is on the verge or is like on the edge of becoming one in the next 2 years after that,
yeah,
then that will change the narrative about economics entirely. Even the media won't be able to ignore that. You know what I mean?
Right.
The media is a big problem. The media is actually the biggest thing in our way of the good ending.
I think, yeah, because obviously, the way the overdependency of government is succeeding is the media just keeps pushing this fantasy world we're living in.
Yeah. Well, what can you do?
What can you do?
Yeah, like,
well,
I don't know how to get rid of the media without being an ass, without being a totalitarian asshole.
no, and you don't do that
Yeah.
because the media, it
There's only one thing we could do, and that's kill lobbying.
yeah. Well, I know there's this one initiative that they passed, Citizens United.
Yeah.
I know that's pretty bad across the board.
I don't know anything about it. I've heard the phrase.
So hold on, I forget, but I once I read it, I'll be like, yeah, it's pretty easy to understand. It's a nonprofit.
Century-old campaign finance restrictions, enable corporations and other.
So the Citizens United decision to expand the Supreme Court's protection of free speech to cover political speech by corporations.
Well, to be fair,
It's not the, I don't see that. This is how
that makes sense, but the things that it allows probably are crazy.
What does Citizens United do?
Well, okay, wait. Let me think about this. I don't think we should be able to restrict them anyways, right?
By fully around.
The only people that should be restricted are the ones in government. So they shouldn't be able to accept the money from the people. So, like, if I, as a company, want to advertise, like, let's say I have a company and you're a political party, a political candidate, and I want to advertise for you, right? And I want to say, like, come and get my Markey-themed sausages, vote for Markey, right? Okay. But
Wow.
that's fine. Do whatever you want, right? I think where the line should be drawn is you can't accept money from me
As a politician?
as a politician.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the big thing. It's
And also these lobbying, like, it's bullshit.
I think that's the big issue that was brought up. I was told about Citizens United. It makes sense. It just a lot of these companies can dump funds into politicians, and obviously,
Like, here, take $1 million. I know you have certain opinions about gun laws, but if I give you $1 million, maybe you'll be a little bit more lax on that.
right? And honestly, a lot of these candidates and politicians aren't going to say no.
Well, would you say no?
I would, but I like to think I'm the exception. I don't know though.
I don't know if I'd say no or not. It depends on what they're asking for.
Yeah, I think it would be dependent. I mean,
like, if they ask me, like, oh, reduce gun restrictions, I was going to do that anyways. I'll take your money.
right.
Decrease the amount of restrictions on small businesses to make it easier. Okay, you got it. If you were like increase restrictions and taxes on small businesses. Here's $2 billion. I'm like, I have to say no, but I really want the $2 billion. I'm sorry. Or I could just take it and lie.
Oh, just lie to them.
Because
Yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Think about this. They can't say they bribed you to do something. They just supported your campaign.
It's true.
So you just take the $2 billion and say, you're an idiot.
I guess.
I'm right. But still, like, I can't imagine them ever getting rid of lobbying.
No, it's here to stay.
Yeah, and if it's here to stay, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Like if Javier Milei really does well, we're not fucked. But like that again, I actually think it's a long shot that he does super super well over the next 4 years, right?
Yeah, I don't know how long his terms go.
Yeah,
and obviously people, I only have patience to a certain point. If his things are going to be a long haul thing, what can he do in one term might not be enough to gain the.
He is very aggressive. We'll see.
He
could turn it all around because like. Right now, the taxes in Argentina are a big problem.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the, it's like second out half their wealth.
Well, history happens at a very fast pace in moments.
We'll see. But yeah, I don't foresee the good ending happening.
No.
I don't foresee like, I do foresee like the totalitarian actually. I wanted to say like, usually what ends up happening is you get some sort of fucked in between where, things get worse, but they don't catastrophically spiral. But I feel like that pattern's done. I feel like we've gone to we've polarized so hard that if we tip, we're going to catastrophically spiral somehow.
Yeah.
And the right will win. If both sides go absolute AWOL, the right will win.
I think in both cases, like you said, the right wins. Even if, well, obviously.
There are situations where the left wins, but I just think they're rarer.
I think the way the left's, though, it's slow. It's breaking down what humans desire, and it's becoming this strangest.
Well,
postmodern corporate
desires don't go away. They never
go away. The left's trying to numb it more.
You can't when you try to numb it. What ends up happening is they come out in really fucked up ways. Like the left's being like, oh, gender equality, literally created the incel, right?
Mm.
And that's not a hot take. That's a very obvious take. Like because literally government funds have gone towards women. Like men have been taxed and women have reaped the benefits because a lot of government funding goes towards supporting women, equality of outcome, right? Instead of equality of opportunity.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't enough, right? Because men and women like different things and we chase different things, and men are way more incentivized to do crazy hours than women are. And that's insane to say, but money to a man is worth way more than money to a woman. Because if a woman makes $300,000 a year, what is that? From a animal perspective, what does that do for her?
Right. I mean,
compared to
depends though what she values though.
Well, yeah, obviously it depends on what she values, but like we're talking about in generalities, so we got to talk about the animal, right? Women who make $300,000 a year really struggle to find a mate because women naturally need to find a mate that has more money than them.
Right.
Like on average.
Because if they're making $300,000 a year and they find someone who's making less, obviously them being
there's a big imbalance in the relationship. I've seen this with my own parents, right? My mom and dad, they love each other, but my mom makes more money than my dad, right? And there's an imbalance there. That's, I think, isn't quite right, right? And I think my mom and dad are both, they both set their own rules, but even they set their own rules. They don't follow society's rules, but still, like, you can see the imbalance there, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I'm just processing what you're saying.
Yeah, it's
I get it.
It's a lot.
Because my mom makes more money than my dad. I'm just trying to kind of
Right.
think like how do I, if I'm kind of trying to see what you're saying.
Right.
I know I know what we watched the other night.
Right.
Basically promoting that, but I'm just kind of seeing like in my own life, how do I see this?
Yeah, because like maybe your life doesn't support this, but also, I think you could argue that even if your dad makes less due to the nature of his job, it's not the same. Like he owns his own business.
Right.
It's different than my dad.
Right.
Right. My dad works for a company.
He works for a company. My dad, he has to,
he owns a company.
Manages his funds.
Yeah.
Has to go
like
out.
At some point, if it kept going, your dad would be making way more money than your mom.
Right.
Right. That's a bit different of a dynamic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and when women and men make the same amount, when men made more than women who were ones got with ones, and women who were two got with twos, so on and so forth. As that what if Altheus shout out, said. But it really is all economic. It really is like.
So women who are like ones in the look scale.
Yeah.
Get with a. So you're talking about like. I don't know,
Also shout out. I'll shout out Ho Math.
Ho Math.
Ho Math.
Ho Math.
He's a genius. Okay.
So explain this one. The ones to a woman who's a one gets with.
So we're talking about on a level of attractiveness to a man, and men have one scale, right? And this is all Ho Math, by the way. This right here is all Ho Math. The stuff we were talking about before, I came up with a lot of those ideas on my own, and I saw them from Ho Math, and he just reiterated them. This is about the all Ho Math. So men have an attraction scale, okay?
Right. Like we use, like, oh, she's a 7.
She's a 7, right? But that's just looks, right? So looks, history, right? So history being like,
she's done like, oh, what do you do when you're dating this guy, or like,
yeah,
or is she a hoe?
Likelihood and like basically, how much we like you as like, personality wise, right? That's all on one scale. So if we like your personality and we like the way you look, you go up the scale. If you have a lot of baggage and you're likely to have another man's baby in your belly at any time, you go way down the scale, okay? So like it's one scale. For women, they have 2 scales. They have the nice guy scale, right? If you max out nice guy scale but you have no attractiveness, if you haven't maxed out the attractiveness, like the lust scale, right? Mm-hmm. You get friend zoned, right? You're a brother to me, right? And I don't think I follow these scales personally because I'm kind of autistic, but like that's neither here nor there. I'm kind of like I'm an alien, so I don't count. But but if you're hyper attractive and like the nicest possible, you're a Prince Charming, type thing, right? And like on the bottom scale, you have like you have masculinity, competence, right? Confidence. You have fitness, right?
Right.
How likely if we get into a fight, if you have to defend me, how likely you could defend me? Status, right? All these are on the attractiveness scale for women, right? So they have 2 different scales, right? They can be hyper attracted, but they don't feel safe with that person. They don't feel comfortable.
Right.
Women are way more complicated than men.
So
what I'm saying is
the men, we kind of put it all into one. They kind of split in 2.
Right. And because of women's attracted to competence and, having resources, right? And all this kind of stuff, when men had more resources on average than women, and this wasn't an unnatural divide, like when we go way back, yeah, men were repressing women, that's fucked up. But when I'm talking about like once we got equality of opportunity, but men were still outpacing women economically, that makes sense because men should try harder to make more money, right? Like
they provide resources, protection,
right? So like it would be like a 1 on the attractiveness scale for a woman, right? And that would be personality, looks, history. To a 1 on a man scale, they'd get together. You know what I mean?
Right. Makes sense.
And then so on and so forth. But once you make their economics even, the one doesn't want the one anymore. The one wants the 3, and the 2 wants the 4, and so on and so forth. Right? They all want up. Now, we all want up no matter what, right?
Right.
But at least we were on an even playing field before. Now because women have more economics than men, right? And they have the sexual power, right? Men are at a huge disadvantage in relationships, right? This is the nature of the beast. And because of that, you see a lot of atomization and stuff. And this is all stems from the government feeding money into women, like pushing women into higher economic status, like literally forcing them there.
Do you think this has something to do with equal pay, or more just more of the pushing into these higher positions?
It's the pushing. So like.
So you don't think you don't think equal pay makes a difference, really?
So
equal wages.
What do you mean? Like equal pay, like for the same job?
Right.
No, that doesn't make a difference. What I'm saying is equal pay for like equality of outcome.
So okay, let's say there's a new position for a CEO position in a company, but there, obviously you can apply and there's a board that approves it. So you're basically bringing up the idea that a CEO basically, let's say it comes out 2 applicants. One's a man, one's a woman.
Right.
Them pushing it, making the woman the CEO just because she's a woman. You're saying that's...
Yeah, an expansion of HR and all this other stuff have really pushed women's economies up.
Which I'm not saying women can't be CEOs.
They obviously they can. There are some genius women CEOs, right? And there were genius women CEOs prior to even women being equal, like treated as humans. You know what I mean?
But when you make when you make a gender though, the trump card essentially, that's when it breaks down.
Right, and like look
it's
at
it's no longer no longer merit based.
Colleges is a great example, right?
Right.
If I was a woman, the amount of scholarships I would have gotten for going into engineering is obscene. I would have been going for free.
Yeah.
Right? Like
wasn't Jess was going for free pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
But she was also had like economic stuff too. Also she's a brilliant girl. She fucking deserves it. She deserved that.
Oh yeah.
Right? But I'm pretty brilliant in my own right, at least at engineering. I can be pretty dumb when I talk about things that aren't engineering. But when it comes to engineering, I'm pretty brilliant too, right? And sure, my grades were not the best would be an understatement, but my ACT scores and stuff like that were very good, right? And if I was a woman, I would have done very, very well with the whole scholarship thing, especially being in-state and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, I'm not boo-hooing like, oh, I'm the victim. What I'm saying is that due to stuff like that, right, men stay in college less because it's less of a value proposition.
Right.
And women go in more, right? Mm-hmm. And when we look at who is catered to from a and by catered to, I mean like more accepted, there are more communities around, more help given to generally, more concern given to by teachers, are women. Men drop out way more than women, right? That's also because men are more disagreeable on average too. But more than that, women are heavily favored in the university setting.
Help me,
right? So, and like, it doesn't make much sense to me that it's not an obvious thing to people.
Shout out to Zoa's Duantas.
Is that good?
Duantas, it's cranberry flavored.
Okay.
But it's different. It's good.
But yeah,
just try it. I know you're not a big fan of energy drinks.
I don't need any caffeine. Trust me.
So you're good.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm very awake.
I'm kind of starting to.
You're kind of starting to.
This will help.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah. I don't see
caffeine fiend.
Like if people don't see the economic and the amount of money going into like supporting women making more money, it's blatantly obvious. I mean, it's in the universities. It's in every every major company, right? It's in the enforcement of HRs. It's in all these different things, right? Like it doesn't make sense to me that it wouldn't be affecting society. Like, it's obvious it is.
Right.
Like, I think women should have the equal opportunity as men. I think like, I mean, look at fucking Marie Curie. Holy crap, James. I'm having a brain aneurysm. Marie Curie. Right? You know who I'm talking about? Discoverer of radon.
Oh, yeah.
Genius. Beyond genius.
Mm-hmm.
Once in a century genius, okay? She deserved all the opportunities, okay? I think, I don't want to miss out on people like her. And I don't want to miss out on,
because
even
people like
moderate
her,
talents.
they earned it through their merit.
100%. And I'm not saying, and by the way, I'm not saying all women engineers are this way. I'm not saying all, and I'm not even saying most of them are. What I'm saying is that they were pushed into these careers by a governmental system that doesn't really care about what they want, right? And just is trying to fit some ideal vision they have, right? Women on average are much happier and on average are much better than men at doing verbal tasks, people tasks, right? Men are much better at spatial and item-based tasks like engineering.
Well, yeah, you never
right? Like,
I don't know a
women
lot
are
of
boss lawyers, okay, and boss doctors,
Yeah.
and all these kind of things.
I don't know a lot of girls who back in high school or just people that care about engineering or stuff like politics, construction,
Right.
Maybe
politics.
Maybe politics. Yeah. Or like they didn't care about like that stuff or like
Yeah.
science-y type of stuff maybe as much. Nursing's like the exception, like more healthcare type of stuff.
Well, like because it's people based, like, and also
Right.
so many women love psychology, right?
Yeah.
Because it's literally just a study of people's minds,
Right.
Psychology and women go hand in hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and the vice versa. You don't see a lot of as many men interested in teaching or
yeah, on average, yeah.
or
Or psychology, it's like
Psychology.
80-20.
yeah.
Or as nursing, or in
Right. Because maybe how guys
brain.
may get into the medical field is more
liberal
maybe,
arts.
Yeah. Because maybe how guys get into the medical field more, it might be going to sports medicine or like physical therapy and shit like that.
Or they're hyper achievers and they're trying to like they're doing it for the money.
Right.
That's why men enter those fields.
Mm-hmm.
Is they're trying to make money, because there's an instinctive drive for men to make money on top of the societal expectation too.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a double whammy for them. They like, I need to become a surgeon, right? I need to make $500K a year.
Right.
Right. Like,
And and what we're saying is just the proof that there is a difference between men and women psychologically.
right, 100%. And that these projects that are trying to like push women into categories that they don't want to be in, right? Because like the amount of scholarships for women in STEM is insane, and yet they're not there. Why? Because they don't want to be there.
They don't have much of an interest on the majority compared to men.
If you're going to give them all the incentives and then all the push and all this kind of stuff, right? And you barely see an uptick, right? If you did the same thing for men, those fields would be nearly 100, like 99.99% men. If all this like stuff going STEM for women would flip around and be STEM for men, the amount of men in the STEM fields would increase tenfold, right?
Right, and you also have to think
It'd be insane.
If you brought it back to more merit, you'd have to think how many just untapped potential ideas that could be
Right.
could be in the system right now.
And that's, yeah,
And
100%.
that's not saying that women can't
And
think of these
I
great
wouldn't want the
ideas.
STEM things to reverse to the men, by the way. I wouldn't want
No.
that. I don't want to go to either, because I think we should be 100% merit based.
Right.
Right. I also think colleges are kind of a scam right now because they're basically Neverland, but that's another story.
Why do you? This is something I'd maybe be a little more not understand. Why would be the push for government to do abandon merit based for?
Literally their own ideals. I really do believe it's really just their own ideals.
just
Like it
individual
has its own
ideals.
the own idealized vision that men are 100% and women are 100% equal and the same in all ways, and because of that, we should have equal outcomes of pay. And the fact that we don't have equal outcomes means that there's some societal harm against women. There's some societal slight against women.
It's the idea of expectations.
It's literally expectations ruling their mind
over reality.
They have this broad vision, and like humans having expectations for things is really good for us, right? Like, like it helps us set long-term thinking, all kinds of stuff. Like it sets us apart, right?
It is idealism,
right? But like the fact that I can look at a barren piece of land and be like, I know that one day I can turn this into a bustling city, right? That's what makes humans so much greater than animals. You know what I mean?
Right.
But as part of the reason, there are more. But it can also blind us, right? Like, oh, how great would it be if communism was real? Like, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Like that's what they think.
It's the expectations and the idealism within it. But reality, though, shows the roadblocks and the cliffs and valleys.
So it's literally just an idealized thing, and it's like this narrative has taken over, right? And people are too fucking stupid or have their head too far up their ass to give a shit or know about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you think because that's really, I mean, obviously I feel like we're going back to this left path of the country versus the right path of the country.
But is that though at the end of the day?
Obviously, I think if, the left continues, it keeps this shit just keeps playing out.
Yeah.
But I was saying though, this is something I want to say. I think going back to several topics, the right does kind of. I think it's going to get so far with the left, the right's just going to smack back and seize control.
And they're going to remove women's right to vote or something crazy.
Yes, and that's something, What If has proposed. I mean, do you think, though, that we maybe for one part of it, for the better, we go to merit, but it also kind of goes to it's merit, but it's also a little too,
it's merit,
secluded.
But it also
it's too segregated in a sense.
Oh, so like it's merit, but like, engineering,
or just kind of goes back to how it was.
Women get forced out of engineering essentially, instead of like it being like men-dominated fields don't have women in it, and women-dominated fields don't have men in it, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I could see it that
where instead of it being like a choice thing, it's like no,
I could see
men don't do it. Men don't do nursing, my dude.
Yeah, if the right, if the right takes over again, which seems like things are pointing that it will. Do we, go back to a merit-based? But with that, though, are there also caveats, like, women losing their rights, like you said?
Yeah. God, I hope not, but...
No, I don't want to see that happen
I could see it happening totally, because, like, the right, when the progressives call
I don't see anything... I don't see...
reactionaries, they're kind of right.
Yeah. Well, politics... are kind of based off reactions.
Right, obviously.
To
that's why reactionary is such a stupid term. But at the same time, people with conservative ideals are way more reactionary than people with progressive ideals.
Right, because it's... Well, obviously, conservative ideals, when you see the change, it's more about... That's out of fear. It's out of fear.
Right.
So...
And fear is not a negative thing, by the way.
No, fear is not.
Fear is not a negative thing, necessarily. Too much of it is.
Yeah, I mean, I could see,
But no fear is also a bad thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I could see if
be afraid.
If we go back to a merit, though, I could see, though, like the right, like trying to
clap all the way back. Slavery.
Oh God.
Like I could see the right losing their mind.
No, we won't.
Maybe not slavery, but man. How useful would it be if we have way more workers? If we just really put those prisoners to work,
Yeah.
Instead of it being like an optional thing, they're forced to work.
Yeah, I don't see like how I think like some would propose like the right us becoming like going back to segregation shit. I don't.
No, I could see like a Nazi thing. where it's like people force people out of communities into ghettos and
Right. If you don't follow our American way and culture.
even I could even see it going race based if the race thing got too crazy. Right now, I feel like the race thing is actually kind of, despite the less best efforts, is really kind of cooling down.
I think the new right. I don't think race matters.
No, for the new right, no. But I'm just saying like
Worst case.
yeah, worst case.
Worst case.
But for the new right, you're right. It's more about ideals. Unless you're Middle Eastern.
Yeah. Because that's a whole nother thing there.
Yeah, there are other
Obviously,
reasons
because
about
it's Eastern culture.
yeah.
That's why they don't like America there to democratize.
Well, okay, calling Middle East Eastern culture is
Broad.
offensive. Because like, compare them to the Japanese, compare them to the fucking
True.
compare them to like people in India. Okay, like the Indians. And I'm not saying Native American Indians. I'm saying Indians as in the subcontinent. of India,
We
okay?
understand maps.
I'm just making sure.
It's not the West Indies.
I'm just making
We're not living in the West Indies.
They may be a bit strict on stuff. They have like a fucked up like social class system, but like they are not the same as the Middle East at all.
Right.
Okay. It's a different beast entirely.
Yeah, I don't think in my honest opinion, I think even if the worst new right, even if it has Nazi, I don't think race would be a thing.
Maybe you're right.
I don't think that would be a thing that
But serving the state will be for sure.
That will be, but the thing I think that would be kind of the segregated group would be people within the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah,
that would be it.
But Nazis did that too. Nazis did that.
Well, yeah,
hardcore.
and that's the thing. It's like we don't need to go to that. We don't.
No, because like the whole problem with the LGBTQ thing right now actually stems from the problem with women and men in relationships.
Right.
Right? It all stems from that, and it stems from the infantilization of people, right? Because their mind runs wild. Shit's not hard enough for them to really give a shit about. Like,
I don't think there's
all
seems to be
connected.
there definitely seems to be less of a pushback against people who identify as gay, lesbian, or bi.
Right.
It's more because that's more of an attraction. That is the part of the community, from my perspective, seems like it's more based off attraction and what they attract to, while the rest is more kind of like the ideas of how gender works in people. You know what I mean?
right.
Because I think, LGB, that's more what you attract to, but LGBTQ. But Q kind of that's
Q
when
is queer,
Q,
like,
Q
it's a gender thing.
that's
It's a
when it
gender
starts
thing.
getting to the gender thing, and that's when it kind of becomes, well, this is not. It's more than just attraction. It's more just like what that person is attracted to. It's kind of what
They identify as.
they identifies, and that's when you're kind of
and that's interesting to me
breaking things down.
because LGB was never the acronym. It was always LGBT.
Right.
Right? So the whole identity thing has been baked in from the beginning. Right?
Do I? No. I think I remember when they had the T.
No. Really?
I think so. Well, okay. The T has changed though. The
LGBTQ? Was it LGBTQ at one point? I thought it was always LGBT.
So okay. LG.
Was it always LGB?
I don't know. I got the QI.
Oh no. No.
Okay. So
When did they add the T?
can we actually look this up?
Yeah.
When was the T added to LGB?
LGBT.
Yeah.
1990s. Right. It's okay for us. Yeah, you don't remember that shit. Shut up.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
so here's the thing.
The acronym was always LGBT.
But I
Otherwise-
think it used to be okay. So
They never said LGB. They never said LGBT.
I think this is something I'm not 100%, but I've kind of noticed the difference in terms. So obviously you've heard the term transvestite.
Right.
I think that was kind of a precursor to transsexual, and then transsexual was then
Right.
a precursor to transgender.
Sure.
So I think the T has always been there, but it's been those precursors. I'm
Right.
pretty
but
sure.
It's the same idea. It's
I
all
think.
identity, right? Transvestites are identity based.
but I think
As offensive as that word is, sorry.
yeah, I know. I don't was going to say
Is that offensive?
transvestite.
Yeah.
I don't
look that up.
I don't know.
Maybe you just saying the N word, like who knows what people think nowadays.
Well, what's it? See, but here's the thing, though. That term, though, transvestite, a person who wears clothes designed for the opposite sex. So it's kind of more of this. I think, yeah, because this is how I was getting it. That was more like based off just dressing, but not actual like.
I mean, they still identify as straight men.
Right.
Okay.
Well, the precursor for that then is.
But they're still
the
playing with
cross-dressers.
They're still
Then, yeah.
playing with gender and identity.
Right, but I
right?
think but now though
They're playing with what it means to be a man.
Right, but now though it's kind of like it's not like, literally clothes and stuff. It's now like actually like actual like biology and physiology.
And I think this stems from an overprotective culture. And that overprotective culture, that infantilization of people, has come from economic temperament with like it all leads back. Now,
Yeah,
I also
I know.
think there's something seriously psychologically wrong with us on top of it. Like there's a genetic factor where we're like slowly becoming more insane genetically, but that's a different topic.
Yeah, that's a different topic, all right.
Yeah, but it's all connected. It's all like I think if you handle the economic problems, I'm not saying we get rid of all the LGBT people. What I'm saying
No.
is that
That's insane. Because
what I'm
as an
saying-
American, we all believe.
right,
Well, we should believe.
they should be able to do. They should be able to do.
It's a
and
freedom
love
of choice
whoever
for
they want.
individual. Yeah.
Right, whatever they want. And whoever
Life,
they
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
want. 100%, right?
And also, in
And-
the old days, they put property in there, which is true too.
Which is true too, right?
Which that one teacher did criticize it, but like he said, he had Marxist. Well, he kind of was did say he's a socialist. He criticized for the property thing, but typical socialist thing. But whatever.
Let me violate. How about I violate your property? Sorry.
I digress.
But yeah,
That's where
the number will go down. They won't ever be gone, and I don't think that we want them gone necessarily.
No.
Right? Because we see that homosexual people are actually hyperproductive on average.
Right, and that's the thing I am fearful that it's going to become like the next segregation that you're going to see with the
Right.
the,
And I don't
the
want
right.
that.
Because it's backwards to our American ideals.
100% backwards.
That's kind of like
But also like
the group I see the new right goes after,
right.
rather than race.
Yeah, it really is LGBT people. Yeah.
Because we've seen the pushback of Bud Light, Target,
Yeah, it was hard.
a lot of everything.
They just
Bud Light, it's not recovering too.
yeah, the Tom Brady commercial where he's chucking it at people.
Oh yeah, or was that Peyton Manning?
I don't know.
One
Same thing.
One of the old grizzled guys.
Same thing.
Same thing. Well, no. Tom Brady. Tom Brady.
Same thing. Okay. But yeah, I don't like that idea. I like the idea of people being able to do whatever the fuck they want.
Right.
But I also like the idea of us being in a healthy society, so that people want to do the healthy thing for them, right? And if my healthier for your society doesn't lead to that, oh well, that's what humans wanted to do. You know what I mean? If humans want to be LGBT, then that's what they want to be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because as long as it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, philosophically, why would I want to mess with that? But in reality, if you fix the problems of the economy with like the economic stuff, and like you remove the government from shit, and things even back out, this won't be a problem anymore. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The incel to trans pipeline is insane, by the way.
Oh, the kind of.
Have you seen it? Like, it's crazy. Like the amount of people who are incels that like
Good to go.
quote unquote call it trans maxing.
No, I
You
don't.
maximize the features you have. So if you have if you're like feminine and you can't get women, just become a woman and get men. It's fucked up.
So, yeah.
But yeah.
I don't think the incel movement is as big as the neat movement though. Well,
I think the incel movement is bigger than the neat movement.
you think so?
Oh,
you
for
think
sure.
you think there's more incels than neets now?
Like pure incels, no.
But incel tendencies?
Well, there are more pure incels than pure neats.
Yeah, but I think that's changing too though.
Or
I think
the ratio's shifting.
I think
It's nearly 1-to-1.
well, I think it more just combines. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because they're the same people.
Right.
Honestly, they're the same people. They're because the neat culture from Japan, and this was in the What If Althea's video too, right? Neat culture from Japan just stemmed from the sexual that sexual market being fucked up over there.
Yeah.
And that sexual market being fucked up stemmed from the economic market being fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Kind of dumb. But yeah.
Yeah. What was that term? The Japanese one?
Hikikomori?
Hikikomori, yeah.
Hikikomori, yeah.
I love Japanese words. They sound so
Neat
fucking...
is a Japanese word too.
It is?
Yeah.
I think neat's an acronym.
Is it? But it comes from Japan. Neat is an acronym.
Oh. Well, I know neat's not employed, educated, or in training.
Yeah, not employed in employed education or training. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is.
But yeah, I think it's from Japan too.
Maybe.
That's where I first heard the term neat from.
I heard it from that
Japanese
that What If
media.
Althus video that I saw the wagey fucking
Wagey.
the KG. Oh. Some of those
Work all day, sweat and rage.
Have you looked at some of those? There's several different poems of that shit.
Dude.
Oh, there's some.
Dude, the hate for the wagey is crazy.
Yeah, and well,
Do you know why the wagey's hated on nowadays?
because the wagey's successful. I don't know. Or
What
maybe,
are you talking about? No.
I don't.
No, because
Maybe to some degree.
despite working all day,
That they hate their life, or they're just
women don't want that.
right
Because
because they don't
and
provide.
men don't have any communities. So the last thing we had really was relationship with women. And once those disintegrated, now we have nothing. So now you're a wagey getting the KG.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'd rather be poor and do nothing than be the wagey.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy ideas. But yes.
Do you think the further we go down this path of insanity, it's going to produce more neats?
Oh, for sure.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, that's how we're going.
What are you
Well,
okay?
yeah, I know, but
The only reason it didn't cause the LGBT stuff over in Japan as much as it did here was they have a much stronger social contract.
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sure.
what do you mean sure?
No, I said for sure.
For sure. Okay, I'm like, yeah, what do you mean? Yeah. And also they did less of the equality of outcome thing, I think, too. But I'm
Yeah.
not sure about that one.
Yeah, it's going to get bad no matter what, I think.
Yeah.
I still think we're going to be top dog.
Right.
The
We're
best,
going to remain a
but-
superpower because you we're not going to stop feeding our military. And that's
No.
also why we won't reach libertarian paradise.
Well, and so, but were we topped up? I think it might be, I don't say the worst position we might be here in this country ever. 'Cause that seems like a
That's
stretch.
so much of a stretch.
Yeah.
We were peons at one point. We were nothing.
To me, culturally, though, I think we might be in the worst position.
Culturally, it's pretty close with the Red Scare as it is right now. So yeah, we'll end up worse.
I think.
Yeah, we'll end up worse.
Because even during the Depression and stuff, and a lot of low points in the 1800s. But if we're talking about, modern American society, so
Yeah, depression.
that was bad, but we stuck together because we had the community and the national duty aspect of Americans.
Right, and people wanted to work.
Right. Now we don't have any of that. So
People
I don't
give a fuck.
I don't. And I think if the left keeps going down this insane route, it's going to stick in. But even if the right takes over, I don't know if that
It's not
particular.
going to be good.
No, I don't.
Like if the right won the next 3 elections, but like
community back, but only this one community, and that's it.
yeah, well, that's
kinda-
not necessarily true. If the next 3 elections, maybe like some libertarian ideas slip in there somewhere.
Right.
But it will become way more like
You got a couple communities to go
Yeah.
by, and if you don't, you're just kind of thrown out to the wolves.
yeah, because like the whole Roe v. Wade thing was way too much of a focus for the right. Like it really took the steam out of all the right's other moves that they were making. Like we were moving towards more gun rights stuff fervently, and like Roe v. Wade shit really took the fucking gas out of them.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And it killed us in the polls too.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the burden on the right for.
They just need to focus on the right things. I don't understand why it's so difficult just to focus on the correct things.
Yeah, I think
Here, look, what's important? The economy.
the economy's stupid.
It's the economy, stupid.
I kind of sometimes forget what the fuck that whole thing's based off. It's the economy, stupid. I know it's Clinton era shit.
Literally.
I don't, but I think what was that about?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Dude, the meme, I just know it's a meme.
Oh yeah, it's the economy, stupid.
It's the economy, stupid. Like it's free real estate.
Yeah, I think the right needs to capitalize. Economy,
Right.
revert into federal power.
Right, small government, which by the way, the right has not really ever succeeded at doing.
No.
They have stopped the growth of federal power before. They have never reversed it. Not substantially.
Well,
maybe not never. Maybe they've done it before. I'm not sure.
It's kind of like the classic quote goes, conservatism is in America is progressivism just going to speed limit though.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, and that's why we need an ideal that isn't, wait, let's not try that quite yet. We need an ideal that's like, no, these are the ideals we follow.
Yeah.
Which is liberal, classical liberalism, and being a libertarian, right? Like market forces, economics, these are what rule the day. Like it really, like I think the two reality positions are between the social democrats, who are like neoliberals on steroids, right? They believe in hyper capitalism, but hyper economic control and hyper social safety nets.
The
right? The neoliberals, hyper neoliberals,
the hyper neoliberals. Okay.
and classical liberals / libertarian. So like libertarian. So it's like socialist Democrats. Or is
Democratic socialists? No.
No. Democratic
Socialists. Yeah, socialist Democrats. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah. Or is it? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Those guys. Hyper neoliberals versus the hyper classical liberals. Like need to go back to like a libertarian style. Like it's these libertarian, basically classical liberals, but like not as more refined. They know a bit better now. Okay. And versus it's that those are the two reasonable takes. This on the left, that reasonable take has been taken up by some people, right? That neoliberal place.
Right.
On the right, not many people have taken up the pure like libertarian stance.
Market capitalism.
Like market capitalism, lack of government control. Stance.
I know
it's a hard stance to take.
Well, as I'll say, I know there's a concern though. If you go hyper-capitalistic, you have incentivize monopolies.
Okay,
but that's because the build of monopolies is through too much government interference.
Normally, yes.
Normally, yeah, right.
Most monopolies, if they exist without government interference, is just because they can do better than anyone else.
They outcompeted.
And they will continue to outcompete anyone who comes in, right? Which is not realistic in a real market because
back in the
there's always niches. Like you can have the best beer for $5, but who has the best beer for $10, right? And how much better is it than yours? Maybe it's only $2 more of goodness value, but some people would rather have the better beer for $10 than have the worst beer for $5.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think we would have to, if we went back to purely a market basis, do you think we'd have to really worry that much about monopolies?
No,
No, you think it all?
especially not right away, because companies don't know how to compete in like the big companies don't know how to compete in such a big system right now. Like there's a lot of vertical and horizontal integration in these companies right now, but
So I mean, like, what do you think would happen with like things like Amazon, Apple,
Amazon
Walmart?
would still be a big player. Apple would still be a big player.
But they'd probably
And maybe they switch tax really well, and they keep it in gear, right?
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they get bigger, but
that's because they are convenient and they're out
because
competing.
they're convenient. I actually think Amazon really stomps out its competitors, right?
No, I mean, look at Amazon. It's
Everywhere they go, they always raise the minimum wage, right? Like that's literally just a tactic to stomp out smaller competitors.
yeah. But even though I think as much people like to bitch about Amazon,
Yeah,
they do shit good.
they do pretty well.
They do good.
Yeah,
And they still, I think that, I think there is a company that's starting to kind of rise a little bit. It's kind of not shaking Amazon, but it's,
who are they called?
I don't know. I think it's something, I don't know. Oh no, this is it's, someone said it's kind of like Amazon, but you heard Temu? Some people said.
You're killing me.
Yeah.
You're killing
I reject
me.
that.
Don't buy things from Temu.
Now that I remember, I'm like, oh, no, it's not Temu. Don't buy from Temu. It's a scam.
It's not necessarily a scam. It's just not what you want to support, okay?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I wish I didn't say that. We sound like less intelligent. I bought this heck. I'm buying an Xbox for fucking $25. Are you sure about that?
I don't know, man.
Woo.
But yeah,
So you don't think we would have to really worry about true big monopolies?
not any more than we have to worry about them right now.
No, yeah.
Because like, look at Disney, and no one's stopping Disney at all right now.
Maybe
Look at Google. No one's stopping Google at all right now. Like, I don't see how it would be worse, monopolistic wise.
right.
It
yeah.
wouldn't. The answer is it wouldn't be, right?
The areas that maybe don't have a big monopoly yet, that where the balance would be.
Yeah,
You're saying.
Like I honestly think that
Because Google's already well established. It's already established pretty
and
much.
I honestly think I think government intervention helps Google too, right? And like the fact that government works with them and all that kind of shit, right?
Right.
I think that without government intervention, I do think there would be competitors that would do better, but it wouldn't be as extreme.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I think that's pretty obvious though. Like when you break it down, I don't think it's like you won't have monopolies that are worse than Amazon. You won't have monopolies that are worse than Google.
Yeah.
Like it won't be any worse than it is now. And it will probably get better. Is the argument.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an impossible task to get us there.
Yeah.
I honestly believe it might be. I don't want to say this because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you say it's impossible, then it is impossible. But I think maybe if we threw all of our resources in it, like if we could convert the whole right to believe in like at least the economic part of libertarian ideals, because like
a total free market.
when you talk to them, they say they believe in that, right? But then when you get down to brass tacks, they don't want to do that, right?
The right.
The right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you ask a right wing person, do you believe in lessening government regulations, right? On goods and services and stuff, right? And like thereby lessening taxes and so on. They'd say yes to all that, right?
Right.
But then when you're like, okay, we're gonna start cutting stuff, what do we cut? I don't know. What do you mean? We got to cut something.
Yeah.
What are we cutting? Like also like
True, because if you want to lessen that shit, you have to cut.
let's cut some shit. You know what? Like if we could just get the right really on board with that, because like I feel like it just takes all it would take is the right leader right now to step in place, and it would ignite that idea. Because like the right still believes in lessening for the most part. It thinks we should lessen taxes, we should reduce most regulations, but like they want to focus on environmental ones instead of like general ones. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's a bit silly.
I know. You know what's sad? I think I'm seeing. I'm not saying sad, but I think RFK Jr. is more kind of hitting these ideals more than some of the Republican candidates.
Oh, of course he is.
Because he's all about that decoupling of the bureaucracies and that corporate entangling with the bureaucracies and stuff.
Yeah, which makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's a shame that I don't agree with some of his other ideas, but yeah,
right. He still believes in regulation, but also regulation in other areas.
Yeah, but still.
But more areas, I think they're less like environmental regulation. Okay. I don't want to have fish with lead in it.
I don't know. I hear lead tastes sweet.
Let's try some. Let's try some. We've got to find some lead paint chips around here.
But yeah, no one on the right wants to do it, and independents never going to win with our current system.
No.
Well, never is a big word.
Never.
I could imagine a world where we somehow like DeSantis versus Gavin Newsom, maybe an independent would win.
Yeah, but like we've said previously, if they gotta put Gavin Newsom up, they should have done it already.
No, right.
It's too late.
I'm just saying, like a world where that would have happened, I could see RFK winning.
Right. Because they'll look at the failures of California. They'd probably see DeSantis's may lack of being able to take up the responsibility of presidency,
right,
and very little foreign policy opinion.
Yeah. And
they'd probably look at RFK and be like, well, this guy's sane.
Yeah.
He's reasonable.
Yeah. So like I think he'd beat those two, but he's not gonna beat
Trump
or Biden. I don't think. Dude, you really underestimate the way people like Biden.
I know.
People really like that motherfucker.
They like him, but they don't know. They just don't.
I asked them why they like him, and they're like, "Oh, I have all these reasons. Look at all these things he's done."
Decency is back.
And I'm like, dude, well, it's not just decency's back. They actually have like policy changes he made, right? And I'm like, do you think that was him? He's like, well, it doesn't matter if it was him or not. It got done under him. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. I don't think he's the man for the job. Okay.
No.
I don't think RFK is. I don't think Biden is.
Oh, you don't think RFK is the man for the job?
No. He can't be.
I think he'd be better than Biden.
Well, no shit.
I think there's a lot better. I'd be more interested to see how Biden.
Do you want to hear something insane? I think for the future of America, I think I'm going to take back that statement before I even say it. I'm about to say I think Kamala Harris would be better than Biden because the amount of rage she would cause would really change it. But then I keep forgetting how radical the right would become. We'd become really terrible.
It'd be worse.
Yeah, the right would be terrible. So
because as crazy I think she is, I think she's more aware of her craziness than Biden just being totally out of it. Just like,
shit.
Shaking the invisible guy's hand.
Get that man some more ice cream. Put him in a retirement home.
Chalky chip.
Dude,
soda.
Whoever put him up to this last time, for his sake, I hope he loses. Okay?
I hope. Go back to Delaware, drive around your Corvette.
Like, dude, just go chill out.
Do with your cocaine addict son.
Whoever put you up to this and got you like kudos, man. You did a great job. I don't know if you knew you did it. Good work. Or I know he knows he did it. I just don't know if he knows he's done it all the time. 'Cause I feel like he slips in and out.
He sometimes he doesn't even know where he was at during the journey.
Yeah. It's very interesting to me that he. Well, it's also interesting to me that we get like a gerontocracy going on too. Like all the old people are winning still. Like, why is that the case? Why are we not having some 50-year-olds win? Like, why aren't we having some popular 60-year-olds?
I don't think I think you're seeing more louder voices on both sides. They're younger.
Yeah, but they're really young. Like what happened?
Like Matt Gaetz, AOC.
Right, but they're young. They're like 30s, 40s.
Right.
What happened to the 60? Where's the 60-year-olds right now? What are they doing?
They're saying 50-year-olds, saying 60-year-olds.
Yeah, they should be around. But I haven't heard from them.
I don't, because I think the people that age, a majority of them get into government are either the neocons, neoliberal establishment people who are just kind of,
Yeah.
I hate to say it, it's mostly the boomers.
Right.
Or the oldest of the Gen Xers.
But why aren't the younger Gen Xers around? Like, I should see some late 40s, early 50s guys in, like, how old was Obama? Like 55 or something?
Obama, he was in his 40s when he was elected.
40s? Okay.
Yeah.
Where
He's 60 now.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are the 40-year-olds of today? Like the 49-year-olds, not the 40-year-olds. The 40-year-olds are like nearly millennials. I don't want them.
No, but I don't know.
Millennial. I never ever. I don't think I'll ever vote for a millennial.
I mean,
I'm kidding, by the way.
Same millennial.
Well, I'll vote for anyone who has the right ideas.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, there's not many millennials with the right ideas.
No. Gen X is that's a generation I kind of don't get.
I get them.
Well,
I feel like I get them. You're wrong. You tell me why you don't get them.
The boomers, I think, they grew up in they grew up in a very comfy time.
Oh, like,
obviously during they grew up in the peak of the American Empire, so they
grew up in the rise of the American
rise, but so they have that like obligation in their mind to keep a system that's not working going anymore.
By the way, the peak for the population.
Okay, the peak of the American 90s, 2000s.
Right. We're talking for their empire, but like for the peak of the population is always on the rise of the empire. It's never on the like plateau of the empire.
Right.
Because the empire just slowly starts taking from its own people and stuff. So it's always on the rise. So like they experience the best America for like easy living.
So I think
You're right.
So I think they have that obligation still to kind of.
I think
a majority of them still view that obligation of doing the way America was to a degree.
They want to bring back the golden days.
In a world that just it's not working anymore. You know what I mean?
Bring it. Look, we can go back on a rise. Like we can rise again.
We go back, but it's got to be a different.
But it's got to be purely economic.
Right.
Because that's what we're lacking. We have the military power's all there, baby. Like we have infinite military power.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Infinite.
Basically, right? For all intents and purposes, we have infinite military power, right? Like, compare us to our Chinese counterpart, right?
Got a call. Good time for a break?
Yeah, if you want.
Sure. All right, we'll be back. All right, we're back. My bladder's too small for this shit.
Oh my god, dude.
I don't know why.
I haven't had pee since the beginning.
Oh, man. I don't know. I wish I had your bladder.
Gotta take care of your bladder. It's caffeine.
But yeah, what I was saying about Gen X, I kind of, well, the boomers, I think they're on the rise. They definitely had like that in their mind, and it's still to continue.
And the Gen X were kind of coddled by the boomers because the boomers had enough money and wanted the Gen X to feel good. They wanted to live a good life. But
I don't know, because I think since...
But also they partied a bunch.
I think since I don't know. The boomers, a lot of them did do the work, I'd say, to kind of, contribute to the rise.
I mean, sure. Yeah.
And the greatest generation.
The greatest generation did it all.
They set up the framework, but I think the boomers kind of also continued into the 80s and stuff.
I would argue the boomers are pretty hard workers, too. They picked it all up from the greatest generation.
Well, I think
the Gen X is like they're the workhorses.
Yeah,
they're workhorses, man. Like I think they're holding up the economy by themselves right now because the young people just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, so I'm trying to like maybe come to some sort of theory on why we're not seeing a lot of Gen Xers kind of.
They're too busy working. Would be my guess.
Right.
Or they're about to retire and about to be done. So I also think around that era, politics was kind of looked down upon.
Right. Well, the only big thing in politics was looked down upon. You know, a lot of partying. Kind of that was like the main the big theme, and just I think also the big political thing that they would hear about or care about was USA versus USSR.
Yeah, and that's
And
tiring.
now's it.
And that's not something that makes you want to become part of politics.
No.
You know? Like, we had NASA. You want to be an astronaut, son, you know?
So that's why I don't think we're seeing a lot of because the Gen Xers, they're at that point in their life, they're still sane, they're young enough, they still have the young charisma to them.
Yeah,
But they also have the wisdom though now.
A Gen Xer could win. I feel like a Gen Xer could really sweep it up.
Yeah, and I don't see
I don't see anyone. I guess wouldn't that be? Isn't Ted Cruz a Gen Xer?
Yes, he is.
That makes sense.
But he's not running for.
Also, he's not quite sane.
No, Ted Cruz is an interesting man. He's an interesting man.
And also, I don't know if I'd vote for him. I'm just saying, like, as an example of a politically active Gen Xer.
He tried it once, and well, obviously, America didn't want him.
He's missing an eye, right?
That's Crenshaw. That's Dan Crenshaw.
Dan Crenshaw's cool.
I like him.
I don't know anything about him. I just know he has an eye patch, and I think that's very cool.
No, he's a cool dude. I mean,
all right.
Some of his policy, he falls into some neocon shit sometimes.
Right.
But I think he knows its problems though when the problems arise.
So he has a neocon framework, but he's very open to tweaking it.
I think I think he's kind of aware. But
I just want someone who like looks and speaks like a neocon, but is really a libertarian.
I think Crenshaw actually is a millennial.
Really?
He's early 40s, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not that old.
Is that a millennial?
Yeah. Millennials are 40s.
So it's like
early 40s are millennials.
Early 40s, because like I think the youngest millennials are like 90 from 1994, so they'd be 29. Not 29.
30.
I can't count.
I think 30.
I can't count.
I think maybe probably 30 to 45 for millennials.
30
maybe. Around that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like many millennials. I'm not gonna lie to you. Who's that one guy?
As a
mug, the guy who's like sits and talks about. He started off.
Crowder.
Not Crowder.
Steven Crowder.
That's the Mug Club. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the. He used to like do TikTok shorts, and he had like the one really popular one about his daughters. Like he tells his he loves his daughters and teaches them how to like live and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Well, he's also a politician. Apparently, I had no idea. I just thought he was like a YouTube guy.
No, I don't know.
But yeah, he's a Gen X guy. I think.
Yeah, I think obviously with no side offering really a ideal future. I think at this point it's kind of based off survival. I don't know if you feel the same thing as me. As bleak as that sounds,
I'm
finding a community that you know that you
Marky,
could lean
I
on.
never play games for a draw. Okay? And that's what survival is.
True.
Okay? I always play to win. So I'm still trying to win. That's why
Right.
That's why like accelerationism is still an idea I look at sometimes.
Well, I don't
just lead into like
I don't want to have to think about survival, but I think having a plan should be there.
You should always have a plan. Always a plan for a plan for a plan. Yeah, of course.
But
because you can't win if you don't survive.
I don't know if neither side seems to be a win for me.
Right. I feel that same thing. But like, what gets you closer to a win?
No, but I don't think neither side seems like a win for the country though either.
Like
beyond me.
Right.
And that's the problem we're in. And that's why I think survival is kind of the...
Well, you got to think about the whole playing field. Like, I think the right would be a win, not for survival, but for it would set up the conditions
I think
for
so
libertarianism to be more popular.
Yeah.
Because if the right is like being the right and doing what the right does, but they're not successfully like pushing small government hard enough, but we're having some, let's say we have, let's say Malay down there is doing great work. Okay. If that happens, and I feel like we need to go right for Malay to win, for Malay to work, because you need to avoid too much inflation for him.
That's right, because Argentina is dependent on us with the dollarization.
It's gonna be You need room for those ideas to pop out. And if we're too busy dealing with like a communist agenda, which is a crazy thing to say, it's not true. But like, if we're too busy batting away healthcare, like socialized healthcare, then how the hell are we going to talk about reducing taxes? How the hell are we going to start talking about all these things? Like, of course, you could just have the conversation come up anyways, but you're putting a lot more roadblocks in the way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like the right needs to win this next election.
I think so too. Reasons. I mean, like I've said, I would like to see RFK win just to kind of put the shock to the system.
Oh, that'd be. I think RFK winning would be the same as the right winning.
You think?
It'll
be a little.
It'd be better. It'd be better.
Yeah. Well, that's why in my perfect world right now for what we got.
RFK. Even if I disagree with RFK on a lot of things, like come on.
I think majority of the shit I agree with.
Okay.
Majority. But then there's the couple.
Yeah. I mean,
there's the handful though things like his.
I really disagree.
I'm like, no,
that's terrible.
Supporting affirmative action, or there's another one that was like, oh god.
Like equality of outcome is not a good thing. Equality of opportunity is.
Right. But I think, though, realistically, a win for the right is what I think would be right.
Uh-huh.
But we're going to have to be careful.
Yeah.
We're going to have to be careful then how we treat things after. Controlling it, letting it get too out of hand.
I think a win for the left makes the right radicalize more quickly.
What do you think happens with the left if the right wins?
Actually,
fraction is it fractures,
no,
or you think it
kind of just the chill left dies.
The chill left,
yeah, like the conservative left,
the older left,
the old left, like dies, like not literally die. Well, some of them will, but
literally.
Not literally dies, but like they will. Those who
it's a super minority.
Yeah, it'll become maybe not super minority, but yeah, it will become a minority for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I think the progressives and more radicals will consume the party because the whole reason that like the left was moving towards Bernie
right
before Biden, right? And the whole reason that stopped was because Biden beat Trump. And that's all that mattered, right?
For sure.
And once you get rid of that, they're just going to move more towards like the narrative has continued to move leftward.
Right.
I mean, until very recently.
And the right kind of consumes more across.
Yeah.
From the very like leftist right person to the
like
the most moderate liberal right versus the far right.
We're also getting more and more extreme like within the Overton window. I mean, like, communism is nearly within the Overton window.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a crazy thing to say, like, oh, communism is a bad idea, but, like, people who say it aren't bad people. Communism is, like, an idea paramount to not, like, being a Nazi. Like it's on the same level of death and destruction and hate.
Well, yeah.
Right?
We've seen it.
We've seen it over and over again. And we've also seen that, like, we also know the ideas behind it. Like,
mm-hmm.
But the fact that it's almost like getting near to the Overton window, like, is the acceptable way to talk, it's an acceptable way to like view the world. That's severely concerning, and because the moment communism actually enters the Overton window, like for real, and not just like online, it's been in the Overton window for like the past 3 years, easy, right? But like maybe even 4 or 5, but like once it enters like real life, like being a communist in real life is like chill. Nazis are coming out of the woodwork immediately.
Well, yeah, because I assume if the right wins and the left becomes more radical,
right,
the right reacts.
It depends. Like if the right wins, the left becoming more radical will actually probably lose them more ground than they'll gain at first. Right, and so like. That will open up enough room for these libertarian ideas to slip in, and then the whole, like them slipping in, and then being pressed by the left, a more radical left, will actually make them solidify, right?
Mm.
You need that pressure, without it, Nothing works.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's. I don't know what we're heading to.
Yeah, I would hope it goes that way, because the other way is the left wins and the right loses their goddamn mind, and it's not like January 6th, which was a mild riot, right?
Right.
It will be like an insane insurrection, maybe. I hope not. I hope people have more sense than that.
I hope not, but
like people are into crazy and like
crazy is the new
right,
normal.
Right, exactly. Right, the like people moving towards like being like nationalists and like fucking close to Nazis will become more and more like. Yeah,
I think we're slowly
slipping into darkness.
but I think we're slowly getting to the point, though, it is really going to become a Mensheviks versus Bolshevik situation with us.
Oh God, no.
If insanity continues.
Yeah, I mean,
it worries me.
Yeah, I think that's why the right needs to slip in a win here. Like
does
because like,
but then there needs to be something happens with the right that kind of calms it down.
Well,
doesn't get too crazy and something.
Winning will calm the right down.
It'll calm it down.
Winning will calm it down for one.
Yeah.
And people who don't believe that, like, they're like, oh, look at what happened in 2016 when the right won there, they got riled up. That's because it was like unprecedented what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, like Trump wins, like, oh, we're back to normal. Is what people will feel like. On the right, it's you need, but you do. You're right. You need a voice of reason, and like if Ramaswamy was VP, that would help a lot.
Right.
Like a lot. It might even bring some left-wing people in.
Yeah. I think so. Because I think he could articulate his ideas better than Trump.
Yeah.
Or convey it more.
And right now the like a lot of the ethnic groups really hate Biden. Like African Americans aren't pulling, like Biden's not pulling well.
I don't think, because it doesn't seem like he's doing much for them.
Yeah, he's not pulling well with the Jews.
No.
Which is surprising because he's like really supported Israel.
Right.
But he's not pulling well with Jews still. Like,
yeah.
Except in the cities. Is my understanding. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, because I feel like I just looked at this stuff a couple of weeks ago, so I feel like it is kind of fresh in my mind. But if I'm wrong, someone corrects me. But like Biden's pulling really bad overall right now.
He is.
If we did the election right now, Trump would win by like 10%. Or more.
RFK would probably get like 4% of the vote.
Yeah. If we did like the election today. If we do it next year from now,
I don't know.
I'm hoping it actually gets worse for Biden. And the reason I think it might is because of gas prices.
Yeah.
And
the things the more worse it gets for Biden, though, it might get better for RFK, which could then really tinker with the vote.
I could get really fucking weird, yeah.
I think we might see RFK. He might get a nice chunk.
I don't know. RFK hasn't gotten shit in the polls. He got kind of shat on.
I don't know. I kind of feel like there's been a slowdown with him. I'm not sure if that's just temporal because,
it's the holiday season.
It's a holiday season. It's the war season. I don't know, though. I don't know. And taking Trump off the Colorado ballot doesn't help either.
He was going to lose that state anyways.
California's thinking about taking him. I know it doesn't matter.
He was going to lose that state anyways.
But it doesn't help.
Get a single electoral.
It doesn't help, though.
Okay.
It just doesn't help. It alienates people.
Yeah. When did you leave? Oh, what kind of question is that? So like, I think that it actually helps Trump. I think
it helps.
I think if he got taken off of all of the guaranteed left states, it
helps him.
Like California, and what else is New York guaranteed right now? I feel like New York's guaranteed left.
Yeah. So it'll be more interesting to see how the swing states are.
Because I feel like if he got taken off of all the guarantees, it'd actually boost his it would boost him in the.
It's
in,
going to
in
be
the swing
interesting to see
states.
how it plays out in places like Pennsylvania, Georgia.
PA, I'm concerned about. He wins Florida.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
No question.
Right now he's winning PA.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, and he's gonna win Ohio. Ohio's no longer a swing state.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why we're no longer a swing state. We have our urban areas aren't like shrinking. They're all growing.
Yeah, Ohio's kind of maybe a good representation of how things in the country could go too. And right now it's swinging right.
Yeah.
It's so.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and so you just got to worry about the Carolinas, North Carolina. I mean.
Yeah, North Carolina's a big one.
I think he's winning right now, or it's close.
Probably.
I think he's even winning in Michigan right now, or it's no. Biden's still winning in Michigan, but it's very close.
A lot could change in 11 months.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it looks good. Like, if right now Trump wins by like a significant margin.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and I can't imagine the gas prices can stay low with what's going on.
Right.
Like, pressure's gonna keep building. It's not gonna stop.
Sure.
Especially on you. I mean, do you understand what's going on with the oil right now?
Not a whole lot.
Really?
I know we're using strategic reserves up.
Right.
Is that it?
You can't keep burning strategic reserves,
right?
And
it's not strategic anymore.
And
it's not strategy. There's no strategy to it,
and not have the prices go up. Like maybe he burns it like crazy next year towards the election. Like maybe he lets it rise in like late spring, right? And then mid to end summer, he just starts cranking it, cranking down the price like under $2. But like, I don't know, man. Just lowering down the price like that by using strategic reserves, that's going to cause backlash too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I part of me is like, why shouldn't we use it? But like, I mean, there are good reasons not to use it. But the fact that he's just burning through it for the sake of like helping his opinion, that's fucked up. That's obviously what it would be.
Yeah.
Because like, if he doesn't use it, let's say he used it like slowly over time, right? It would still help people as much as it would like burning it all right now, if not more, you know? But yeah, the frack and the reduction of fracking, in a lot of areas. I think he increased in some areas too, though, to be fair. But yeah. Do you think he's going to be able to keep prices down?
Biden?
Yeah.
No.
There's
Not
no
the way
way,
we're doing.
right? There's no way.
We're burning fuel like mad. We're shipping it all over to Europe.
Right. It's not. It is. If it was just us burning it, he might be able to pull it off. But we're shipping it out.
Shipping it to Europe. We're shipping it to Israel. Now.
Yeah. Like, how are we gonna maintain this pace? Like, by the time election season comes around,
the system can't hold itself together if you keep it up like this.
Yeah. Like by the time election season comes around, it's gonna be $4 a gallon. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you can hold it together. And like if gas goes above $3.50 consistently, it's gonna look really bad for him. If it goes above $4 for more than like a month, Biden's toast. It's over.
Yeah.
It actually is. It's like gas prices dictate a lot of people's opinion, especially with Biden right now.
It adds up. Those gas bills will add up.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Like, I know me. For myself, man, $4 a gallon is gonna hurt me.
Hurt you? Yeah, it will.
Oh man, I drive. I drive a lot.
You drive a lot.
So like, it's $4 a gallon is gonna suck. But I know it's gonna happen. It could end up $14 a gallon. Some people say some crazy stuff like that. It's probably gonna end up somewhere around a little bit above 4 is what I imagine.
Yeah.
Even $3.90 is gonna look really bad for him.
Oh yeah.
Which it got to before we started using strategic reserves, and that was like in Ohio. And by the way, I'm talking about in Ohio $4.
Ohio.
In New York and California, that'd be like $6, $7, $8 a gallon. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Like in Ohio, $4 is insane per gallon. There's no way.
That much money for a milk jug of gas.
Do you think he ends up like one thing he could do is end up sending strategic reserves to certain states.
Could, but that won't happen.
No, he wouldn't.
I don't think he's that competent to do that.
I mean, it wouldn't have to be him. It could be anybody.
Right.
But yeah, if Biden wins, I'll be shocked. This, like last time, I was like, I think Biden wins by a small margin. This time, if Biden wins, I'll be shocked. This is a big change from where I felt just a few months ago. A few months ago, I thought Biden was winning. I was pretty positive Biden was going to win. And
it seems like Trump's winning right now.
And not just Trump's winning, but I like the future does not look like it turns around for Biden. If anything, it gets worse.
No.
Right? So I do see Trump winning. But yeah.
Yeah, if Biden wins.
Oh man, we're on the election route.
Yeah, well.
Oops.
It's not good. I don't think it's good.
Yeah.
Well, winners, I'm kind of running out of gas.
Really?
Kind of running out of gas.
Dude, I'm just warming up.
For 3 hours.
I'm just warming up.
I bet you are.
My voice is kind of choppy. It's because I haven't been drinking enough water. But I'm just warming up mentally.
Yeah, I bet you are. I'm getting hungry. That's the thing.
Oh my god.
Well, I'd say we could talk about what our ideal American society would look like, but we've kind of hit that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a great reduction in federal government bureaucracy, which, like I said, back to the topography graph, kind of seems like the root base problem we have here.
It's at least one of them. I mean, the other one being like mixture of genetics and like postmodernist degenerate thoughts, nihilism, all culminating into some fucked thing. But like those ideas can't grow without the economic problems. So
right.
Those ideas get squashed without the economic problems.
Sure.
But yeah.
I think we know what to do.
What do we do?
Just like we said, less government.
Oh, here's a question to finish it off, okay? Before you run out completely out of gas. Okay? What should we be doing as individuals? Because that's what I've been thinking, and it's a hard topic. I think it's the hardest question.
I think this could be good for our final message.
Right.
And then I'll have one more thing to talk about after that. I think as individuals, I think we it's community.
Build up your communities.
Get involved in local politics. Even as boring as it could be and petty sometimes, it seems that
boring, petty.
It matters.
Nonsensical. Futile.
Know your history. Know your roots of the country. Kind of understand free market ideas. Find religion.
It helps. I wish I could. I really wish.
It helps.
I have kind of, but not to the extent I want to.
That's speaking from the religious person of the two of us.
Yeah. I mean, I see what is done for him. And I want.
I think also probably a sense, national duty, local national duty, kind of.
Yeah.
Steering away from the ideas of nihilism, and because that's something I kind of wish we talked about, but I think the situation though the government's put us in, it's kind of enables the nihilism.
We talked about all the things that nihilism brings up. You know what I mean? We went through them and defeated them, or said why they exist. Right. Instead of just lamenting, we did address nihilism.
Yeah, not directly though.
But we didn't need to say his name. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's gonna be a fight, I think. Well, you winners.
The community thing, I'm gonna say it a step further. Don't just be active in your community. Create your own community on top of that. Like, find people around you that are like-minded. And what I mean by that, it isn't like they don't have to be like, if you're a libertarian like one of us, you don't like I am, or like a libertarian conservative type like Mark is. You need to find people like that. People with an open mind and an eye towards making the world better, and are willing to see and hear the facts of the situation. Because there are people on the left with reasonable ideas too, right? I don't want to make it out like libertarianism is the only idea forward, even though I think it's the best one. well, I feel it's like the only idea for it in the long term, but that's not important. Look for people who are willing to really look at things factually. Make communities with those people. You gotta like you need to go out and be a person. Don't
know your community. Know it.
know it and find people
Who's
that
in
you
it.
can trust.
Find like-minded people.
Yeah.
To kind of back up, but then use the other like-minded people to reach out to maybe people not as like-minded. And
It is like-minded because
right.
Yeah, like-minded in philosophy and seeking of truth and seeking
right.
of the best that they view the world can be, right?
True.
Without being blinded by ideals.
I think it's like the one time we were talking to the Sheets at till 4 a.m.
Right.
Kind of creating local your own community as a local hub. Kind of create it as like as we kind of said, a new Constantinople.
Yeah, give yourself a little new Byzantine, style thing.
Innovate, seek truth, and build up a sense of community. And don't throw tradition out the window too much.
Unless it's garbage. But
yeah, garbage.
I'm kind of radical, but Marky's right. Tradition's good for most things. It's been proven over time.
It's been proven.
But yeah.
Well,
be good people. Don't be an ass. But yeah, go ahead.
As we wrap up this final one, winners, then we got to look back in the past.
Oh no.
I was telling you, I was listening to that.
No.
I was listening to that first episode, and my God, it was pretty fucking scattered.
Schizo.
Schizo, scattered.
My schizo ass.
And even though I think this podcast, it wasn't. Did we grow? No, we're only sitting at 20 subscribers.
That's growth. We went from 0 to 20.
That's growth. We've seen growth. I don't think either of us kind of thought we would become the next JRE or.
No, but it would have. I thought we would be able to get more people on.
Right.
That was my hope. Like the views thing, I was like, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But I wanted to get more. I wanted to talk to more humans.
And we tried. I think we tried.
We tried a bit, yeah.
I think though.
Shit didn't work out usually though.
But kind of looking back and listening to this bits and pieces of old podcasts, I think we definitely got, especially I think around the end, we got more in a rhythm. Kind of,
yeah,
definitely figured out how to stay more on topic. Even if we would jump topic to topic, we would kind of know how to really.
Yeah, I mean, this was a testament to that, by the way. We
even when we got off, it kind of was all connected.
We ended up bringing it back.
The topography.
That's
the theme of this one, everyone. Topography and morphology of reality.
There we go. Oh, I love that.
Look at Professor Winters. Fucking.
Oh man,
he's got one student already.
Well, I do think there are other people out there with the same idea, but I wonder if they have the same exact idea.
Have to find out and see.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we definitely. Well, I think we improved maybe our public speaking skills maybe a bit here.
I don't know.
Maybe a little bit.
I'm kind of brain dead. I can't tell.
I think. I don't know. I think
I'm less insane. I would say I'm less insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, every once in a while we get one of those classic moments. Classic moments. You gotta search through them though. You gotta search through those episodes.
Yeah.
But when you find them,
episodes, you're gonna be like, "Oh man!"
You find them, and it's gold.
They kept that in. Oh no.
They kept that in.
No, they kept that in.
But I think I don't know. I think that the ultimate thing that we achieved though with this was we had fun. We had a lot of fucking fun with this.
I agree. Yeah.
Kind of every time we did this, especially during our peak in the old studio, I kind of think, kind of every once in a while you kind of come here feeling like I feel like fucking Joe Rogan today. I'm going to the studio, you know what I mean?
Go get a burger.
After. Yeah, instead we get a steak, we'd get a burger. Kind of a steak on a bun.
It's a ground up steak on a bun. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Fuck, I don't know. A George's burger might be good as a steak.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, like a what? I'm sure JRE, those guys, they end up going eating like a crazy steak.
That or going to a bomb ass sushi restaurant or something like that.
That sounds pretty good.
That'd be good right now too.
And because he's hungry.
No, I don't know. What's your thoughts? I mean, looking back on the podcast, kind of where we are now, ending it. Because I think, you know,
Ups and downs in our lives.
Ups and downs.
Ups and downs in the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I think we definitely are leaving it better than we entered it.
I'm glad we did this finale though.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did it. I think
we needed it.
We needed it. It's closure.
And I think 4 was the right number. I think 3 was. I don't think 3 was enough because by the third one, I don't know if we'd be back in the rhythm enough the way we were on this 4th one.
And 5, I don't know. I think 5 would just been pushing it.
5 was too much.
I think 4. I think it kind of was the perfect number.
4 was a sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
And it fit just right in before Christmas too. So it's like perfect.
Yeah, I think the goal of the podcast, I kind of said, you know what? Sure, in an ideal world, I'd like to we'll grow, kind of, you know, have a nice little audience.
Yeah,
sure, I wish that would have happened, but I think
100 or so listeners,
but I think the goal is just let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think if we did all 45 podcasts back to back to back, I think we would have grown.
Yeah, I think if we had more consistency, which
is my fault.
I think, but I think
sorry.
Yeah,
I suck.
It all works out in the end. Hey, you were consistent at for the last 4.
Yeah.
You were, which was a testament though of the changing of times.
I've grown. I've grown as a person.
I think you are,
and as a person. But
I think our opinions have been our opinions and our abilities to express our ideas have been sharpened because of this.
Yeah,
because we know it's more out there now.
Yeah, well, and also I've had time to take my opinions and make them to connect them together.
Right.
Because like before they were like a bunch of logical opinions that weren't really connected by anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that connection deepened the understanding and kind of changed a few things. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that I hope somebody, this is a very selfish hope, by the way. I hope somebody has somehow managed to listen through all of these podcasts at some point, and can kind of see that we're better off now than we were before.
Right.
Despite the ups, downs, the bad decisions that I've made. Marky's he's always been going straight line up. I've been roller coastering around, but you can see that we were better now than we were then.
Yeah, I think so. I think if the world kind of seems like it's going down the toilet, it kind of seems like we're kind of on the up.
Yeah.
And
toilets.
Why, toilet calling you?
No, skibbity toilet.
Oh,
the society's dead. I like that's the biggest black pill I've ever seen in my. Anyways, go ahead.
I watched those skibby toilet videos yesterday. I didn't get it. It's nonsense.
Kids. Oh my god, the future of humanity is doomed. But yeah, I don't actually believe that. It'll be fine. Probably, maybe. I hope.
I do have this glimmer of hope that's coming back. I think it all works out in the end. I think we will see something that will be better. I truly do. I think we have to go through some shit though. Some real shit.
Marky, you are quite the optimist. Okay, I think that our road to good is narrow and our road to hell is wide.
My realism stands, but I think the optimist never leaves.
That's great. I mean, I think it's possible we end up good, but I think if we go too dark, I don't think it, at least for this area in this country, it doesn't come back. I mean, like, there'll be light elsewhere in the world because, like, that's how humanity works.
For sure.
But, like, I mean, look at Europe. It got too dark. It got too radical. And now it's like this, like, it's honestly quite authoritarian.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Canada. Like,
yeah.
Canada can't come back. Maybe they can. Maybe I'm being...
Or they become the great northern states of America.
They literally would be like California 2.0.
Yeah. Maybe the Saskatchewan and some of the middle, or in Alberta. They'll be normal.
I don't know.
Northern Montana.
Their conservatives are pretty crazy. They're like crazy left. That's what I mean. Like, they're not conservatives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't...
I think that's all we have to say.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
good
been
luck.
It's been fun.
Have a good life. Hopefully, you can remain with your head above water. You know, just north of hell. Don't stay alive.
Thank you
Don't die.
for watching. Tune in for this last
luck.
one. If you made it this far and it's Christmas, well, I hope you have a Merry Christmas.
A merry motherfucking Christmas.
Enjoy with family, friends. I hope this last episode was a little gift to you. An insane gift.
A little insane gift.
A little insane gift, but that's kind of what we always aimed for here. A little bit of sanity and fun and a little bit of thoughtfulness too.
Hopefully.
I don't know. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. Be safe. God bless. And yeah, see y'all on the other side.
The information or opinions expressed during the Just North of Hell podcast are solely those of the individuals involved. The primary purpose of this podcast is entertainment. As such, the Just North of Hell podcast is not responsible and does not verify any of the information contained in the podcast.